Spore. Now, you see, recently, I got a little bored. I'll admit it, I got a little bored. So I decided, what is the best way to not be bored than play God and mess up others' lives? Who's with me? Who's with me? Also, this thing is like weird. What is this? What is this? You're telling me that like I can see it, but a little bit on the corner is messed up. You know what? No. If you guys ain't gonna see it all, you ain't gonna see it all. It's fine. If it messes up, we'll change it. We'll put a cool background picture or something. Anyways, we're here. Let's get into it. Now, a little baby boy. Being an herbivore is kind of cringe, I'll admit. Being a herbivore is like, ooh, I love these plants. Ooh, is this an apple? Delicious. But no. I wish we could be an omnivore so we could eat everything, but that'd make the game too easy, so we're a carnivore. Get ready! Your niblets are mine! Ooh, what's this? Easy, normal, or hard? How hard can hard be, okay? How hard can hard be? Oh, we can name it! Lobotomy. I feel like I've had a lobotomy at this point, my god. Let's just find a random one here. Let's see if we can think of something cool. Velodoric. Dig. You know what? Sure. But for YouTube's sake, that's Dak. Nah, that's deck. That's deck. Yes. Just because we're all gonna be making a YouTube video out of this, I don't wanna get copyright claimed by the dick police, okay? What do we got? And that's when they die. Now, if that was realistic, we would have died right there because we got that close to the sun. Not gonna lie. I feel like that's unrealistic. Ban this game. 1 out of 10. 1 out of 10. No one likes this. Horrible. Yay! Everyone's dead. We all burned up and now we're charred. Alright, there we go. That is fine. Spore, Galactic Adventures. It's time to become a little baby boy. Oh, there's my little shithead. Alright, welcome to the tide pool. The tide pool, I remember that was a trend on TikTok. Throughout Spore, the choices you make impact your future, as the sole mission is to eat, grow, and evolve. Growth is measured in your progress bar. Ah, yes. Guys, don't we all look at our progress bar every day and check how we're doing? You must eat and you'll earn DNA points. Very nice. Can I get the DNA that means I don't die ever? Hold up. Munch. Oh, that guy has like 1,000,000 eyes. Oh, you wanna come for me? Hold up, turn around. He looked at me weird. Get back here. You wanna come for me? I'm coming for you. Nom. Ah, yeah, look at me with those 6 eyes. It's gonna be the last thing you ever see. Come at me. Nom. Okay, no, don't leave it alone. Psych, I'm coming back for you. Do you see what we did there? We just did a little switch and bait. You never saw it coming. Oh, you wanna go for my food? You wanna go? Yeah, that's what I thought. Run away with those eyes. I don't know. Does it run away? I don't think it runs away. Now we can eat them like munchies. Ooh, little bit of a snack. My snack's running away. Delicious. Oh, these guys are. Leave me alone. Bro, they're coming for me. They're coming for me too hard. Please leave me alone. We just gotta avoid them. We don't date. Oh, that thing looks hideous. Oh, I'm stealing your food. Hold on. Click to mate. No. No, I refuse. I don't want to eat. I don't want to make just yet. Oh, you want to go? You want to go? You want to go? Numb. Numb. You know what? You win. I don't care anymore. Goodbye. All right, call for a mate. Emergency mate! Emergency mate! Imagine if you could do this in real life. Just emergency mate. Bro, I'm huge. I'm huge in comparison. Damn. Ah, yes, and I just pooped it out. Was I the female in that situation? Was I the female? Don't know how I feel about that. The Cell Creator. You can do oh yes. Oh yes. Paint mode. Ah yes. For when I'm feeling like a snake. When I'm feeling a little pink. You know how I be. Sticking with our normal boy here. Looks like, oh, it looks like a little sperm. Change it, change it, change it. It needs to look like pure death. But if we just have... Bro, no texture type right there. What else can we get? We can get the line. We can get the disease dots. We can get... whatever that is. I want to be see-through. Can you guys not make me see-through? Ah, it's no fun. You know, we're gonna be red. I look like I've gotten syphilis. I look like I'm somebody who'd be thrown out of the town because that does not look good. We're gonna put a little, you know what? Snake. We're going to hide. Oh, yes, he doesn't look diseased at all. Now, can I add more? Can I add more? Ooh. I feel like that's pretty good. You know what we're gonna do to him as well? Too expensive. Did I just spend all my money on that? Oh, I did. My three-mouth boy. Look at this. His name now is the Dick Muncher. Sure. We're going with this joke. I'm running it into the fucking ground. There we go. Look at them, he's the best of boys. Oh, anyone will come for the Dick Muncher? He's looking to munch some dick. Come at me, folks, come at me. Oh my God, what is that? Am I seeing legs? Oh my God, that looks like legs on the back of it. Oh, no, 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 dodge it. Dodge it. Go for this guy instead. Go for him instead. Yeah, he's going for him instead. Munch him instead. No, I'm not taking it. I'm not dying here. Down the middle, boys. Down the middle. Okay, it's slow. Nice. Nice. Munch. Ow. Oh my God, no. Oh, I'm now the same size as it. Nice. That guy's trying to stick a needle up my butt. Nope, nope. I don't like that. I didn't require those services. I did not pay you for such services ever. Go for the meat. Go for the meat. I'm gonna die, no. Oh, wow, they're munching a lot of things. Munchy, munchy. I'm coming for you. Okay, why every time? We died? Oh, come on. Food just came straight into my mouth. Thank you. We got the prolapse one over there. That thing is just a living prolapse. Oh my God. Oh, you want to cover me? You want to cover me? Which one of my mouths do you want to touch? Nom nom nom. Try and run away. Try and run away. It just looks tempting more. Nom nom nom. Nom nom nom. There we go. Delicious. Delicious, folks. We're enjoying this so much. Oh, you also want to get eaten? You also get eaten. You'll also get eaten. Oh my God, that thing ran at me. That was a zoom and a half. You guys want to go? Don't see me, don't see me, don't see me. As long as that thing doesn't see me, we can get this glowy thing. What is this? It looks very glowy and I want it. What is that? Oh, we got a prolapse. Guys, we got it, we got it, we got it. Yeah. No. I go elsewhere. Ah. Maybe we can go this way. Just mind our own I'm minding my own business. I'm minding my own. There we go. There we go. We just got it. I'm nibbled. I'm dead. One day, God decided to compel humanity to create the greatest game of all time, and Spore was born. You are correct on that one. Oh, fuck no. Leave me alone. You want to keep going? I have 3 mouths here. All the more to munch you with, you hear me? All the more to munch you with. Eventually, I'm just thinking of making one big sentient mouth. Could you imagine? Just, there's no eyes, there's no anything else, just mouth. Mouth. Just mouth. Hey, oh, nah, you wanna go? You wanna go? I have more mouths than you even have. I'm gonna get more mouths than you have eyes eventually. You wanna go? You wanna go? You and your prolapse are out of here, you hear me? You're out! Oh, come on. Oh! Mine now. We're speeding this up. Oh my god, we have fish birds. Leave me alone, bro. And then EA fucked up the sequel. EA, I expected nothing more or nothing less. Ooh, what's that? Hold on. You wanna come for me? Come on, squids. Come on. Come on. I'm gonna fight you. I want whatever that is. I want it. Oh, okay. Hold on. 3 mouths are defending me very nicely. Oh, it's coming from the back. Oh, you stinky, bro. Bro, I'm stuck. I have just enough mouths to keep myself I had just enough mouths to keep myself alive. You know what? We're gonna be a little baby now. We're gonna ignore everything. And we'll be all good. We're gonna be a good boy now. You know what? No, you can have it. You can have it. When I get big, all of you are gonna die. All of you will be plankton in my stomach. You hear me? Come on, folks, come on. You're not biting me, I'm biting you! Ah. Is this really gonna be the cycle? You know what? I'm calling in backup. When in doubt, mate. When in doubt, find a mate and move on. If you can't do it, your children sure can. All right. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna shove more speed on me. What I've realized, other than me just not having enough mouths, we also don't have enough speed. We do have... Oh, it's too expensive. 25? That's crazy. Bro, what? I don't have enough for any of these. Eyes will do sight for me. Is it these? Oh. Oh my god. We can see out of our butt now, yes. This is what I'm going for. My boy's gonna be able to see out of his butt forever now. He's a butt looker. Oh, what the fuck? What's happening on stream there? I'm pretty sure, like, I just had a seizure looking at that happen. What was that? That was insane. What? Something weird happened there when we transitioned. Something very strange. I'm gonna just leave that be, though. Oh! Dodge. Oh, you want to come at me? Oh, we got a visitor, folks. We got a visitor. Food. You want to go? You want to go? Get him. What? What just happened to me? That's normal with Spore and OBS? Really? Bro, OBS just had a seizure. I'm pretty sure I developed epilepsy from watching that. That's insane. Oh no, it's a gang of 3 of them. It's a gaggle of whatever those are. Briskies. What is a brisky? Why did God make briskies if they were so hideous? And then squirties? Is that what you call them? I see. Note to self, those are briskies and those are squirties. I did not know the word squirty was an animal type. I gotta really look up like National Geographic again. Come on, kill it. It can be fixed with something, but I don't remember. All right, before next stream, we're gonna fix that. We're going to fix it before next stream. Okay, so they don't touch me as long as I don't touch them. Let's just not touch each other and be in our own lane. Food. Num num foodies. Hold on. Num num foodies. This is what I wanted. I'm like a hyena. I got it. I'm not good at anything until they're just dead. I don't think that one's dead, but come on. Let me give you a little bite. Let me give you a little kiss on the cheek, a little peck on the cheeks. Come on, bro. This is like a gladiator match. You know what? I'm out then. I'm out. I'm out. Bye bye. Bye 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 bye. I see it. Bro, it's so fast. It's tiny. Get back here and get in my mouth. I want you. I want you in a very primal way. Oh, yo, we got homie. Homie. Yo, we stick next to the homie. We survive. We do good. Homie, let's eat this guy together. Homie, right here. Come on. Come on, fight with me. Fight with me. You're just leaving me alone. Coward. And it just cracked my neck. You know, have you guys ever just been neck snapped by a squirty? It's a very inconvenient thing to do. Very inconvenient for the squirty to just snap your neck. You know, then you have to transform into something else. Very rude, I must say. Very, very rude. Okay. All right, that one just looks like it's high. Not gonna lie. The squirties are our mortal enemy. Oh, you wanna go? Oh, you wanna go? I may have started this, but I'm gonna finish it. Come on, squirty. Get him on the side. I got. Come on, follow me. Follow me to the squirty. Bro, the big guy's now coming for me. Okay, we're gonna leave them all alone. Did I make probably the worst spore ever? Probably, but it's fine, it's fine. We don't have to worry about it. I just need something to go faster. Hold on. I think I'm out. If I give up my 2 butt eyes, I might have enough to go faster. Or I might have enough to put more eyes on me. And I don't know which one's more important. We're gonna see though, we're gonna see. Pretty sure if I just take off these back eyes of mine, sell for 5. Maybe these 2 mouths, I'm so sad to see you go. Then I can do this. Can add these. Can I add these? Hello? There we go. Oh, look at my boy. Fashionable. Yeah, there we go. And then we just add like, oh, side mouths. So we can get him from any angle. Can you imagine? It's like, oh, you think this is my front? No, this is my front. We get him from every angle. All right. This is the new hideous monster I have created. He will still be called Das Deck because that is hilarious. They're fighting. They're fighting. Oh, you want to go? Oh, you want to go now? Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. I don't want to face any of you. I don't want to face any of you. They were going crazy there. They usually don't fight, but like, they were just like, oh, you want to go? All right, we'll go. Oh, here we go. We're going up. What? Huh? Wait, what? Why did I? What? Why did I die? I swear I was completely fine, and then suddenly I just fell over and perished. What was the reason for that? Come on, EA, what was the reason? Getting this guy. There we go, we finally leveled up. Oh! I did not request probing! Okay, so, oh. Is that a poison thing? Just stick it in me like, get it going. Get it going. All right, here we go. We're big enough to finally... You know what, actually, we're not big enough yet. I just realized we're not big enough yet. Just gonna leave that be. Oh! Hold up, hold up. If I can get that thing from behind. There we go. There we go. I'm taking all the meat. You can't get me. I'm taking all the meat. I'm taking it all. I'm dipping. I'm dipping with the meat. How dare you try to stop me? Collect cell pods or unlock cell pods. Oh, you. Would you like to come back? I promise I won't hurt you. That is so satisfying. They were annoying me so much before. So much so that it was irritating as hell. But now I can just eat them like light little snacks, you know? Like a little light bit of cheese. Ow. Goo. It's like goofy eyes. No, it's like, ooh. The eyes go like Looney Tunes style large. Ow. Hey, yo. The poison spear. I want that. I see a piece of meat. Go for it. Go for it. Consume it. We have a little bit more until we get large. Ow. Ow. There we go. Nice. All right, we're out of here with that. Nice little snacks now. Jesus, that guy is large. And he's pooping red. Oh, no, that's another guy. What is that? Force field generator? Is that a force field generator? I didn't know we had sci-fi organisms here. Like, hold on. Let me bump into this guy and see. Whoops. Excuse me. No! No! Oh, I'm getting consumed. I'm dead. I survived. I'm out. How did I... Bro, that was a massacre and a half. How did I even survive that? We're drifting by. We're making do as a scavenger. I'm probably one of the best scavengers in the sea currently. Probably one of the best. Drifting away. They see me rolling. I'll snatch your food. Oh, damn it. All right, now we gotta get him involved in some kind of war or something over there. Ooh, that looks valuable. Bro, he nabbed my tail and I exploded. Maybe I'm just playing this wrong. Maybe I'm supposed to go slower, you know? I'm supposed to go calm. I'm supposed to go slowly. Slow and calm. Nab things and don't die. Excuse me. No. Oh. Awooga. Oh. Did I just nab his food? I just nabbed your food. Get absolutely wrecked. I just nabbed your food. And you know what? I'm gonna do it again because you left it unguarded. You may call a cellmate. Not yet. Keep going. Speed up. All right, we're calling a mate. Whoa. Okay. All right, she's over there. It's time to start drifting. We'll all be okay. They can consume the eggs. I don't care. There we go. They weirdly leave us alone once we're good, you know? They weirdly just leave us alone after a little while. And they're just like, oh, you're mating? Oh, I'm not gonna involve myself with that. What is this? You can eat plants or living organisms. Spike. Little tail spikes. We got the back as well. You know what I'm gonna do? Screw mouths. We need one mouth, and that's it. I'm about to put on all the spikes. How's that look? We're gonna call him Spiky as if he was a little dog, you know? There we go. Boop. We got this. Now we can stab him from the side. If they try and eat me, this will just go into their mouth. Kill them. Yeah, these guys are the most vicious ones. They're actually insane. What are you guys called? Is that Daddy? No, Ducky. Ducky? Ducky? That is one of the weirdest things to call such a harsh... Bro, look at that. I think I found out the strat. You gotta follow these guys around and just nab what they're eating. You just gotta nab a bunch of duckies, you know what I mean? Mega mouth. You know what? That checks out. That man's got more mouths on him than I've ever seen on anything. There we go. Yo. Oh, it's an electrocute. I thought it was like a shield generator or something. No, okay, those are normal. Those are normal. I've seen those in real life as well. You seen electric eels? Here we go. This guy also tried to do the spike tactic. Didn't quite outwork for him. Nom 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 nom. Nom nom nom. Oh, a mate. How you doing? Oh. Y'all wanna come for me? You wanna come for me? You wanna come for me? I am OP! Be aware of my size, but more so, be aware of my spikes. Hey, come on. You can't keep those up forever. You can't keep those up forever. Hey, yo, he got shocked. That was pretty good for us, though. You know what? We'll just go. The mega mounts are coming. The mega mounts are coming. We're okay, we're dodging, we're weaving. Can you not eat like anything else? Just anything else but me. I'll take anything else but me. There we go. Got him on the side again. Got him on the side. Oh, Mega Mouth, don't worry, I didn't know that was your meal! Mega Mouth, that's just rude, okay, that's just rude. We got eaten again. There we go, I see Mega Mouth over there. Just want to get these guys. Oh, I didn't know those were things. I thought those were like specks of poop or something, you know? Oh no, I'm gonna get eaten again. Mega Mouth. Mega Mouth, you can have that piece. Peace, okay? Peace. There we go. Get him. Oh, I think I just got... I don't know why. I walked into his mouth. I literally was like, I'm gonna get eaten today. You wanna go? Yeah, you wanna go? You wanna go? You wanna go? Yeah, what's that? Unlock all parts of the cell stage. I'm a completionist, guys. I'm a completionist. Yay. I didn't know that I was carrying on, you know, I'd be... You know, I'm not that great a guy, but I am a completionist. Put the medal on me, folks. Put the medal on me. Mariette, what's up? How you doing? How you doing? Doing pretty good. What about you? Playing Spore. Got the giga chattest of mans here. He's doing pretty good. And you know, the universe is just pooping out more things for me to kill. Pretty good day if I must say so myself. Hope you're doing good. And if you're not, I hope this stream makes your day better. Come on. What you got? You got nothing against the knives I have put on my body. You know what? I'm actually about to put more on. You're good? That's good to hear. Hold up. No one mess with me. You know what you just did make me feel even better. Thank you, man. Thank you. I'm glad you feel a lot better. Life's harsh, man. Life's harsh. Lord, let's see here. What do we got? Poison? Farts. We have farts now. Not poison. It's not poison. Farts. And then can we put anything else on us? Or are we good for now? But eyes. I don't know. What does eyes do for us? Wait a second. That actually looks so dope. We got 3. That kind of scares me, actually. We're gonna call myself Asmongold, because what the stink that comes out from us is going to kill anything in the area. I just burped a whole burp out. Can you burp the ABCs? I've been trying to learn how to do that recently, and it is so difficult. It is challenging beyond measure to burp the AB. Ooh, thank you. What is that? Oh. Munchy, all the food. There you go. Would you guys like a little bit of a sniff taste? A little bit of a sniff taste? I got you, homie, I got you. Watch this. A little bit of a sniff taste. How you like it? Oh, come on, everyone's dying around me. Man, I don't smell that bad, do I? I don't smell that bad. I can't burp without cola. I've found out that if you drink water fast enough, you can burp like that. I've gained sentience. It was that easy, folks. It was that easy. You get a little stinky, you kill everyone, you're on path. I finally gained sentience. My brain cells. When it comes to swimming in sludge, you rule the pool. When you're ready to stretch your legs, click advance. You know what? I think I will. I have, oh my god, hold on, let's look at this. Ooh, I have, ooh. Yeah, you can really see the progression stage there. If I had to do like a hardcore run of this, this would not be happy. Be so bad. Yeah, prove it. Oh my god, that's so, all right. You're pressing on me. I don't know if I can do it like this, but let's try. There we go. Did it. Easy. Easy. You just have to drink water enough and you have to open your throat while you're doing it. You drink it far enough, you're easy. You're easy gold. Now what's this? Bite level 1, charge, spit. Bro, I look goofy as hell. Alright, we got 60 points, Thundercalf. Ooh, damn. Oh my god, my boy is incredible. Hold on, let's take everything off of him for now. I want to see if I can create a masterpiece with this. I'm gonna take everything off. Just for now though, he's gonna be a good boy after a while. Here we go. Thundercalf and Brontosaurus on the back. He looks like a dog. Hold on. He actually just looks like a dog here. We're putting this here. I know there's a way for me to like, yeah, change his his spine. Hold on. I also burp better when my belly is full, you know what I mean? Oh, those hearty burps, I know what you mean. Let's see, what am I doing to this guy? Oh, could I? You know what I want to do? Why does that look intimidating? Like, actually, that looks so intimidating. Hold up. Am I a crab? Am I making a crab? What is this? Oh, he has, oh, it's on his knees. Hold up. I can, my knees are pincers. You wanna speak to me? Speak to my knees. Speak to my knees. All right, we're getting the extra thoughts going right here. I'm gonna get 2 of them for good measure. I'm gonna push this a little forward. And then push this guy. Oh my god. Ooh, that looks very interesting. Ooh. Oh yeah, we're figuring out something here, guys. I think I'm starting to figure something out. It just feels good. It feels great. It feels great. I don't know how this feels for this guy, but you know what? We're gonna stick his eyes up there. I want to see. Can I put like a set of pincers on whatever this is? How's he walk? Can I see how he walks? Hold on. We also need to color him. Oh my god. Okay. We're gonna color him. Stealthy. Ooh, that is nice and stealthy. We need him to stand out. Oh, sorry. I don't know what happens with Steam and that right now. Spore, why are you spazzing on my chat? Stop it. Oh, it's whenever we change the skins. You know what? That's fine. All right, we have Asmongold looking very nice and good as well. Can we stick, oh, we can stick more mouths on us. Or more farts. You know what? It would be rude to not stick a few extra spore things on here. Cause from the side, I look like I'm very well endowed. All right, there we go, folks. There we go. Look at that, I guess. I don't know what I just saw, but it was definitely something. Stop it. Stop it. What are you doing? Let it spaz out in the corner for a second. Okay, I think it feels better now. I need to fix that, man. God damn. I feel like I'm gonna develop epilepsy from that. Please don't do that. Don't do that. Oh, it's a colony. No, the levels of inbreeding. The levels of inbreeding have extended so far past the royal family. I am scared. It's the beginning of a new day, and for you, a whole new, strange and wondrous world fills your lungs as you stretch your limbs on your new home, Dryland. The race has begun to evolve. Ah, yes. I too love this. Which is a shame. What about you? I bet he's usually big. No, I'm quite thin, actually. You can tell by my wrists here. I'm quite a thin man. I also, like, watch how much I eat with calories and such. You know, it makes it easier that way. Now you are a creature surrounded by your nestmates. To evolve, you need to meet other species on this planet and earn DNA. Earning DNA, alright, it's just the same thing. It's the same thing. Here you can find your objectives. Ah, yes. My objectives such as eat and evolve. Easy. But you know, the difficult thing is that I remember I used to have like a decent sized belly. The thing is, like, I remember I was in like, what, grade 4 or 5? Not grade 4 or 5. I remember I was like, oh, I'm munching. Oh, hold on, let me get closer. My knees need to munch. There we go. I remember I was in like grade 7. I had like a decent sized belly. I remember that after I got to high school, I just could not gain weight in high school. And I found out later it was because I had like severe social anxiety and just general anxiety. So it helped me lose a lot of weight. I'm not saying it's a good thing that you have to be like stressed all the time to lose weight, but it does definitely help. Remember that carnivores should only eat, and herbivores should only eat fruit. Hello, my children. Hello, baby Asmongold's. Look at how gorgeous he looks. He looks like he's ready to splurge on people. All right, it's time to go. It's time to go. What is this? Is this bones? What is this? Oh, a big mouth. What's this? You discovered a new part. I got above. Like, how big was it? Quarter pregnancy, 3 months pregnant. If that gives a good, like, reference. I don't know. Mating cell. You click the mating call to find your maiden enter. We don't need to mate yet. We have no points. I need to go out and eat things. Let's go. Also, there's some. Oh, hello there. Hello. Oh, hi. The Batsu. It's a snail. Guys, I don't know about you, but I see about 4,000 calories right there. Who's this? You got a new species. Take care of them, friend or foe. Set your stance and get ready to sing or snarl. Okay. All right. My stance. Combat stance. Can I only do combat stance? Raging roar or social stance? Some solid burps like a bear like that? Yeah, true. True. Definitely. Alright. Combat time! Munchy, munchy, munchy! Oh, you want to come after me? Bro, this thing wants to eat me! Spit! Spit! Spit him good! Get him. Oh, yeah. Bro, that actually took a little bit of time. That was a bit of a struggle. Well done. To the victor, you got the spoils. You're on your way to a bigger brain and a smarter you. Yes, guys, remember, the best way to a bigger brain is eating more meat. All right, it's time to eat. Oh, look at him. He's so happy. Crunch, crunch. Delicious. Hot 2 Batsu. Oh, I can't even be friends with them. Sorry. The quest line dictates that I have to eat your entire family. Oh, and there's another one there. Butsu boy! Butsu! Sorry to say, Butsu, but you're really not gonna like this. You're really not gonna like this. Munchy munchy in my tummy. Get absolutely wrecked. An alpha Butsu. Yeah, and I'm a Sigma Asmongold, okay? Sure. Sure. What is happening to it? It's just spazzing out. Have you ever burped with a cola? I don't drink cola. Oh, you want to go? Oh, hey, this one, I think it wants to go. Lock on. Get back here. You looked at me and that means we fight to the death. Come on. I'm gonna splurge all my bad stuff at you. Come on. Spit on it. Spit on that thing. Kill it. Nom 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 nom. Yay! I feel like a better person now. Keep munching at it. Look at us, eating from our knees, and somehow we can eat all the way from this far away. All right, I'm feeling quite good about that. I'm feeling quite good. Now, I did see one over here, like, spazzing out. You still here somewhere? Or did it finally get unstuck and run away? You good? You good? Oh no, I think I see one. I see a new victim. What are you? Oh, that's the dead one I was just at. Oh, never mind. Let's collect these then. Anything caffeinated? I do drink a decent amount of coffee. Soulless. We got dragon eyes. What is this? I like how I just like, ugh. I just straight up thrust whatever I touch. Like, hold on. I'm gonna go to this. Watch from the side what it looks like. I'm just like, all right, guys. I'm gonna get this. Ugh. Ugh. It's so inappropriate, man. It's so inappropriate, and I love it. All right, the last one. And then we're gonna go see if we can claim their nest. Man. And we got another mouth, yay. All right, let us do the mating call now. My people, you're right there. Oh, wait, hold on, let me get to you. We're gonna evolve. We have so much evolution points. How can I make this guy even more horrifying than he already is? Here we go. Get extra close. Extra close. You know what they like to do. Oh, hey, they know what they like to do. What's the best burp you've ever done? I can't remember all the burps I've ever done, but I probably did some really belchy ones, you know, that's lasted like a good 5 seconds. All right. And I just poop it out. Look at that. That's the new generation right there. How did I poop that out? Goddamn. That is absolutely, positively huge. All right, let's take a peek here then. What is this? Oh, we can, what? Spin, roll, flip, do a flip. Hey, yo, that's epic. That's epic. All right, we're gonna leave it be for now. Let's stick some more stuff on him. What is this? What are these? Are those different feet? No, I like the feet. I like the feet. Did you ever rub your belly after eating too much at once? Probably. Probably. We're gonna take those off now. Let's see what we can really do to make this guy insanely bad. Ooh, wait, can we attach graspers meekly? Can I attach arms to his leg? Oh, I can't. Oh, man. Come on, let me attach arms to your leg. That would have been so dope. Okay, we're not going with anything like that. I think we just add on as many mouths as possible. Let's put him on the back. I'm watching you from every side possible. I believe tigers do that as well. Sporkles. What is that? Is that a nose? You know what? We'll stick a good nose on him. Look at him. Gorgeous boy. We love him so much. Mantenna. Look like a beetle now. We have 52 left. Celestial stay. No. Mouth. Yes. Mouth. Mouth on my knee. You guys don't have mouths on your knee? You're stupid then. We get some more mouths on you. Soon this entire knee is gonna be just covered with mouths. Look at that. All the mouths you could ever mouth here. We're gonna actually line them up. You know what? Before, I wasn't too sure about this. We're gonna line them up. We're gonna make them look good. And I'm gonna keep the ones on my knees. They're decorative at this point. They're very decorative. Yes. It's starting to take a little phallic shape, but with the mouths from the fish, it doesn't look like that anymore, so that's good. We have 2. Esmongold. Mouth. Mouth. Only mouth. Tags. Mouth. There we go. We've got the mouth monster here. Soon everything except where my eyes are gonna be are just mouths. I can already imagine it. Evolve a creature with 3 heads. Oh, those are heads? I thought those were mouths. Wait a second. Oh, it's even worse than I expected. Oh, those are heads. Oh. Ah, yes. Behold my heads. It'd be kind of weird though. The mouths are over there. And then the heads, the eyes are over there and over there. I don't know what we're creating, but I am enjoying every single second of it. Let's keep walking then, folks. We've got places to explore, things to see, and brain damage to have, because those are really just, they look like they're in pain. Can I expand my territory, by the way? Like, if no one's here, can I just be here? Can I just has territory? Ooh. Okay, we can. Let's go find our next victim. I'm looking around. Pick this way. I see something on the map there. Unknown species. We should eventually make some friends by the... Oh! Hold up. Oh, those were... Wait. It's these guys! Oh, the squee! Guys, it's the squee! Is he gonna kill me or... You know what? You're not gonna kill me. I'm gonna kill you before you kill me. Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! I have many mouths and they're all going straight into you at this point. Look at that. We're potting his eyes off. We're biting everything off. Oh, they're all Haha, stinky. Stinky. Okay, we're munching now. Nom 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 nom. Are they coming at me? I don't think they are. They're little babies. You want to go, folks? You want to go? I'll wipe out your entire civilization. You hear me? Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, let's keep going. Scaredy cats parading about as, oh, we're so strong. We're so strong. Oh no, oh no. What are these guys? The Garback. Sing. What? Why am I running away? No, stop. Stop. Go over there and sing to them. He was like getting scared. He's like, oh, I have stage fright though. What? Oh, I'm scared. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Folks, I cannot sing. I will not fight you though. I will not fight. Ugh. There we go. We got a wizard. What is a wizard? Is that like a wizard? Can I cast fireball? Oh, they can fly. You know, I think we might want the guys that can fly and nab us from down as our friends. Not gonna lie. I think we do want them like that. Alright, let's explore a little more then. There are many, many things around here. I just have to make sure not to die and to get all the food I ever need. Ooh! Monkey! Monkey with one leg. Oh, you know what? I'm actually kind of tired. You know what? I'm actually gonna dip now. I'm actually really tired. I just realized I can't bite or anything right now. I'm gonna dip. All right, I'm about to go. All right, see you later. Roar! Bro! All right, that was the most insane roar I think I've ever heard. They're not following me. I don't think a T-Rex could roar like that. Huh? That's crazy. I love it. I love it. That was the most powerful roar. We need more mouths. Does it increase? Does it increase every time, you know? Oh, this is our nest. Ah, yes. Watch as the simple mouth takes a breather after a very hard journey. Yeah, yeah, yeah! Mouth! Now, what do I need for this? You don't have a target. Oh, that makes sense. You know what? That checks out. So I can bite, I just don't have a target. Let's go around and pick up some things here. I'm seeing some nice things on the ground. What are you? Ugh. What is that? A chuffle. I feel like the developers are making up words now. Hi guys, how you doing? Don't mind me, just thrusting. An alpha Ewan. Bite him. Bite him. You wanna go with me? I'll take you out before you can take me out. Trust me, I am 10,000 times more violent than you are. You trying to go for me? Nom. Now feed to assert dominance. There we go. Keep going at it. Keep going at it. Slam a few more times. Feed all of your 6 mouths. All right, there we go. Beautiful. And now we're getting stuff. We're getting feet and stuff. Oh, you want to go as well? What are you? Are you in? Oh. Him. Get him. Oh, come back. I'm not that scary. I just ate your alpha. Be afraid. Be scared. No, we're spamming it now. We're spamming it. As long as they don't attack me, like, more than one-on-one, I think we'll be perfectly fine. Nice. Now, does anyone else want to fight? You're shocked, are you? Well, don't worry. You can be a little less shocked when I come eat you. It's time to fight. Everything that's weak, we gotta wipe them out. I am gonna have the dragon birds be my friends, though, because I don't trust that I can actually defeat them. Not yet, at least. Not yet. We're almost at the first level. Let's go. Oh my god, look at that! It's a giant meatball! There's a giant meatball in the sky! Yo! Oh, it's disease. Never mind. Never mind. Let's get back home. I'm afraid of the dark. Let's get going. The dark scares me, okay? The dark is dangerous. The dark is the darkness. What are you two doing in there? In public? You know what? That's actually where you mate and all that, so. It should be a celebratory moment. Alright. Alright, it's time. We're changing again. We're gonna see if we can add more mouths or more spit. Ah! Ah! Thrust into each other, touch tips, and then suddenly we poop out a nice baby boy. I just came back to see the visual glitches happening. Sorry about that. Let me actually Google right now and see if it's something I can solve. Oh. Well, that's a problem. It just rolled away. How solve spore visual glitches. Okay, there we go. In the meantime, let's make our nice little character. His name is Mouth. Top spore streaming experience. I, if you don't know, am a spore streamer extraordinaire. If you didn't know. It's making the weirdest of sounds, man. Let's see. Restart the game will refix the glitch. Oh, really? Really? Okay, hold up a second. Hold up, pause. We might actually just be able to fix this by restarting. I am gonna save here though. I don't want to lose my progress enough to go back into the... over there, you know? Okay, let's quit Spore. We're gonna rewind it. And hopefully this works. All right. Best Spore streamer of the world, folks. Best Spore streamer of the world. The most incredible Spore streamer. I am the best. Of course, you guys know. Spore streamer #1. That's what they call me. That's what they call me. Nowhere. All right, here we go. Let's set this up and get back for mouth movements. There we go. It's starting. Give it a second, folks. Oh, mouth. What do you guys think of Spore, by the way? Have you guys ever played Spore? I've seen a lot of it on YouTube, but otherwise I haven't seen much. There we go. Beautiful. And it's still thinking, all right, hold on. I think I might have an idea on what it is. It might be because I put it on ultra good settings. It might be because it's on ultra shading, you know? Here we go. Let's change that and put it down on medium. Oh, and also, what? No, that's why it was messing up. I had it on 1 GB cache for the graphics. We're gonna put it on 4. Now it shouldn't be glitching. Switch back. Ignore that. Ignore whatever you saw there, alright? I also have another screen like that, but ignore that. Back to the Das Deck world. Oh, this looks like the epitome of Das Deck. There we go. It should be moving a lot smoother now. How's it feel, everybody? How's it feel? Smooth, non-glitchy, not killing your retina? That's what we're aiming for. No! No! I'm seeing it happen again. No! Let me just look. Does it need like 8 GB to run? Because I have it on medium. I have everything else on low because it was being problematic. You know what? I'll switch it to that. And I'll give it 40%. That should solve it. Other than that, I can't really do much other than make the graphics worse. And I mean... Okay, let's get pregnant, folks. Something I never thought I'd say on Spore stream. Let's get prego badego. Prego papego. Yep, that's looking pretty decent. Nice. The gigantic egg. I still don't know how that comes out of me. I still don't understand. So, what part of the body should we add here, folks? What part of the body? We could add more eyes, because I do have back eyes right here. We could add more legs. We also could add arms, but like, you can't put the arms on his legs, and I feel like that's really lacking. You know, I was trying to get his arms to stick to his leg, and the game was just like, no. Hey, yo, what the hell? Pregababego, let's go. Ooh, sneak. Yes, sneak level 1. They'll never see us coming with a little bit of green on the top of our head. We're gonna make this like some weird anthropomorphic human. You know what? We're also adding on more legs. Let's see. Too expensive. Was this expensive for some reason? Was the grass is 25? The grass on my head was 25, really. Stumplestein. No. Can I not add more legs? There we go. More legs. There we go. 50. More legs or more fun? You know, I think we should keep that hair on because it's looking hideous and add... Should we start adding the Asmongold specials on again? The Globstalkers. The Globstalkers. Gotta add our nice little, you know, pay right there. You know, he's gotta have what he's gotta have. How else is he gonna give birth, you know? Yes. And you know what? For good measure, if I can afford it, I can't afford it. All right, never mind. I was gonna say if we could afford it, we'd give him arms. But we'll do that next time. For now, let's just see if there's anything else we can get. Everything is like 25 now, except for the eyes, probably. I don't like these eyes. They look scary. They look human-like, and I don't like that about them. Is that rude? Is this defamatory or something? Because I feel like it's pretty close. You know, this is what's under the skin suit. Everybody knows it. You know what? Maybe we can... What I would like to do is... No, hold on. What I would like to do is maybe bring it in a little more. Ah! Oh! Wait, we can make 2? Oh my god, this is beautiful. Now we're gonna shove these guys at the front like this. What are you talking to me now? What are you talking to me? It's like the eyes are up there, but this is the real face. Sure. This will be gorgeous. Maybe I can add the feet. What? Are these becoming arms? I needed feet, people. The feet just disappeared. Put him back on. What? The feet disappeared. We only have 2 feet now. Huh? Alright, well, I guess we're a 2 feet guy now. And you know what? We're gonna line everything up on here. Everything we get from now on is gonna be on our 2 arms. Look at this. My 2 arms. Alright, and we're gonna take off our back eyes. Let's get some more mouths on these people. Get some more mouths. For gobstopper claws. I think that's pretty decent. Have him roll one more time. Come on. Test drive. Test drive. Come on. What do you do? A flip. I think it's looking pretty decent there. And we're gonna call it there because the spasming continues. The spasgaza continues. Alright, I think that looks pretty good. He is gorgeous! He's my beauty! My Asmongold. Hello? Hello? Why can I not move? What? Learn to charm. Oh. Do I really have to know this? Learn to spit. Bro, it's teaching me things like I'm a 5-year-old. It's like, learn how to do this. All right, there we go. We're no longer a child. We're whatever you can call this. As long as they come at me from the front, they get 1 big mouth, 4 eyes, and 6 mouths. 5 mouths. If they come at me from any other angle, I don't think we can handle them, I'll be honest. Now, I do see something a little close to home over here. It seems to be down the bend here. This is either going to be a great food supply, or it's going to be homies. Homie! Are you guys homies? You guys homies? The alpha dewberry. No. These look like prey animals. Not gonna be honest. Not gonna be honest. They do look very much like prey animals. Spit that! Get shot! They're ganging up on me! No. This is unfair. This is totally unfair. They're ganging up on me! Look at him! He's biting me from the side! You can't bite me from the side. That's illegal. No! Oh my god, he just looks like a really long person. He looks so long. Long man. He's like a long man. Oh my god, alright. Welcome everybody, this is me. I'm definitely not dead anymore. There we go. Oh! Bro, the egg fell. Wasn't that one of our eggs? Wasn't that one of our eggs? Stick to whack them with. Oh, but wait, I don't have arms. Oh, I don't have arms to whack them with. You know what? That's fine. I will be going now. I will go now. My people need me. Okay. Let's go exploring the next tribe we come across. Okay, that is the next tribe. Ah! No! Run away! Flee! I was gonna say I'll be friends with you! But they don't want to be friends! Bro, you guys don't even have faces! I'm out. Dip away! Run! Run, Asmund! Run! We gotta find some friends. Okay, they're no longer chasing me. All right. Hopefully this next place we come across, they'll be nice to me. They'll be nice. I don't understand what the spazzing is about. Like, I'm pretty, like... Do they want me to, like... Do they want me to make it like dead low? You want me to make the graphics dead? You want me to make it wrecked completely? The defaults. No. We're gonna raise that up to 40%. And raise this up to... Is this... Wait, if it goes above this... If it goes above that, is that just why? Exit full screen mode. Is that what? Oh, full screen mode is this. Oh. I don't like that. I'm seeing something completely different to you guys right now. That is not what I'm seeing. It may be just because I'm expanding it to like, normal sized mode, you know? Is it fine on stream now? No, it isn't. Oh, do I have to quit? Oh, you son of fucks. It's not about the graphics? No! Is that the game capture or stream capture? Game capture. I don't know if stream capture will work on it. So usually my go-to is game capture. Hold on a second. Let's solve this problem once and for all. Because I feel like my eyes are bleeding from this. And I don't want you guys to have a bad experience. Like, you know, I went to Ryberus' stream. And now I'm blind. Now I'm blind. Now I'm legally blind. Okay, hold up. We can set it to window capture and see what happens. Oh, window capture works nicely as well, but it's... Oh, we figured it out. Thank you so much. Yes! Window capture extraordinaire, folks. Thank you. Thank you for helping out. I highly appreciate it. That was like hurting my eyes. When I'd look down to see the stream, I'd be like, oh my God, what is that? Like a form of torture, watching a Spore stream. Watching a Spore stream. The most inhumane way of torture. All right, everything should be fixed now. So we can enjoy Asmongold as he was supposed to be, with his 5 mouths and 4 eyes. There we go. All right. It should work. Tell me if there's any problems. I'll also be watching intensely. I'll be watching. So it shouldn't have any problems anymore. Unless it wants my wrath. I'm going to go down to EA headquarters. That's all I'm saying. I'm going to go down to EA headquarters if this keeps happening. There we go. I think that's a better look. Okay. Expandus. How we doing? No, I want to be friends. Hold on. Alpha. Friend. You cannot impress him. Stop being so innately hostile. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, I look so sad. Oh, man. All right. I'm going. I'm going. What is that? 38 hit points? Do you guys also not like me? Bro, why is everyone on this planet so mad and so angry all the time? There's no need. We can be friends. Friends, yes, friends, where we don't kill each other. And we sing and dance all night. I've taken a bunch of, I don't know, mystery plants. What are these? Are these rocks? What are these? Oh, and by the way, that means we can up the graphics. Just by the way, that means we can up the graphics, boys. We're not gonna be able to see it for a little while. But we can up the graphics. Oh, it's a plant. Oh. Let's just shimmy about here. They won't be able to see us. Can I walk on walls, by the way? Oh, no. Are those guys? Are they fighting or are they mad at me? Oh, a Swigan. Oh, hi, guys. What is it called? The Angry Bird? Is that called an Angry Bird? Here we go. Impress him. All right. La 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 la. 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 I don't know if this is working. I think we're making it, right? I think we're making it. Is that not good? Did I do bad? Sing voice, good. No? Okay, I'll go talk to another guy then. I'm gonna go talk to somebody else then. Oh, no. Hey. Hey, oh! Bro! He one-shot me! He literally one-shot me! You were killed in battle when wounded, retreat to your nest to heal. He one-shot me! Oh, how dare you! That's rude! Alright, you know what? I'm about to make the biggest killing machine. Hold up. I know it turned into adult, but it's time. Ladies, gather up. Go to the lady. Go to the lady. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. I'm gonna rip him down to his base form and make the best punching machine ever. Instead of whatever this is, we're gonna make something really strong. Get ready, folks. You're not ready for what you're about to see. Got a little poopy right there. Nice. Alright, here we go. Can I reset this to like the basics? Take your legs as well. Take face. Take your ears. Can I reset you to like the basic? I don't like whatever these are. What are these? Can I slap feet on them? I guess we have to keep whatever these are. But we're gonna try and make it like somewhat resemble feet. There we go. That looks like arms. We're gonna slap feet on those. Style paw, two paw, web tail, palm walker. That kind of seems kind of cool. We can dance and sneak, but we can't charge. Ooh, a succo. We could use a succo. Succo. We could use the suck feet. There we go. We got sucks on the feet. Looking pretty decent. Let's get some arms in play. How you guys like arms? No, those are also feet. Here we go. Arms. Graspers. Meekling, Deltroid, or Slackrest. Deltroid just sounds kind of cool, man. Not gonna lie. Deltroid sounds epic. Like, his arms are clipping through his legs. That is okay. Should his legs be down here? Come here. We're gonna make like a literal scorpion. Break your spine a little bit. Ooh, yes. Do you guys see this? His spine. It's all coming together. We're gonna be down low and we're gonna tickle their toes. Give me them toes. Give me them toes. Oh no, that doesn't fit. Look at that. Nope, toss them away. I feel like these might fit. Oh, that is terrifying. Bro, that is horrifying. We'll do this. You can see out of all the sides of his eyes. A schnuffler. A snuffle. He can smell you from far away, but he smells from his tail. We still gotta keep a little bit of the original guy, you know? Little bit of the original, so... A mace. Ooh. Oh, I think we're making a dinosaur at this point. Let me just see. Let's shove the mouth on before we do anything else. Not gonna lie, all of these look pretty hi, how you guys doing? How you guys doing? Joe Star Gaiden. Hi, how you doing, man? How you doing? He looks kind of goofy now, not gonna lie. Kind of looks like a lizard. But we're maintaining this. His real thing isn't going to be, oh, you know, he's just so cool. He's so great. He's actually going to be like dangerously powerful. Okay. Keratin horns on both knees. He's got a pocket launcher. There we go. He's launching things from the top. And then... Can I put anything on his arms? Oh, I can. Oh. Does he not look like a force of nature? But we're gonna take the maces off for now. Bro made Asmod cult. Crazy. Ah, yes. Look at the perfect Asmod gold. With the, of course, the very exposed cock and ball. It seems like the greatest. This is what's under the human skin suit, okay? And you can't tell me otherwise. I won't accept it. And you know what? We're gonna have... We can't put any more legs on. What can we shove on? The hair bear. We're gonna give him ears. They just look like... They look like eyebrows. Hold on, hold on. Let me position these correctly. His mouth has consumed everything. Can you not... I accidentally made his mouth all consumable. Shove that away. There we go. Look at that. That actually kind of makes him. You have to give him long hair. Press tab. Okay, hold on. We got to put the mouth back on. Hey everybody, what's up? It's Asmon Gold. You know what's going on today? I'm gonna make like a 18 episode YouTube video about it. What if it is that? No. We're going back to normal. I'm not gonna be making monstrosities anymore, okay? We do need this kind of there. Can we shove hair on this, or you know what? Editor, shove hair on it. Shove hair on him. Extend the feet backwards. He's a goddamn goober crawler. Look at him. He's a goober, man. He's a goober. Oh, you know what would be badass? Could I shove more arms onto him, or is that too expensive? Okay, not too bad for now. Not too bad for now. I'm thinking more legs, more arms, and if I can, maybe more penis. Could you imagine? It's in the accessories section, really. Details, weapons, feet, graspers. Where? Oh, we could put hair on him with this, but I don't know how that would work. Let's see. A pop... Bro, this looks more like a dick than this does. Secondary dick hidden right underneath them. I think I might get banned for that, though. Let's look at the paint mode. It shouldn't spaz out anymore today. Let's see. What does Asmongold look like? This just looks like dessert. I'm not gonna lie. This just looks like dessert. Wait, that actually kind of looks like... No, I think he's agreeing. He looks extremely dirty. All right, hold on. There we go. That just looks like snake skin. We have one more page. Oh, yeah, that looks... Either of these two. Either of these. That looks... Bro, the bald spot. We gotta go with this one. It has the bald spot. This one is an even bigger one, though. Hold up. No, that doesn't look as good as this one. This one has the bald spot. Would you look at that? He even has eyebrows now. This is really starting to look like Asmongold. Remember, he doesn't take showers. True. Bro, there's so many we can make here. Look at this. Everything. Can I search hair here and see what pops up? No, crosshair only. All right. Coat and details. What? Ooh, all right. We're gonna keep it like this. You make custom paints. I just found that. I just found it. So, let's see. So, we're gonna go with crusty armpits because that is what he does have. Rusty ass armpits. The base, let's look at the coat first. I don't see any browns here, which is kind of annoying. Creepy and cute. You know what? That does check out. Ooh, there we go. This is gonna take a while. Hold up, folks. It's gonna take a while. Let's see. Oh, wait. We found it. We found it. It's under yellow. I think we're patented now. Look at that. Why? The more normal color we make this, I still can't believe bro said he doesn't take showers. You know, some people, they want to be stinky. I think if you spoke to him, like, I wouldn't, like, listen, I watch Asmongold. He's quite fun, but he's quite fun to watch. But I think if I actually saw him in real life, I would not want to talk to him. I fear I might die from his breath alone. Those are, you see that? The black spots I put on? That all, oh wait, hold on. Maybe not black spots, maybe these. Can we make it green? Can we make it green? He has like stink lines across him. Somehow this looks more hideous the more I do it. I'm kind of scared. Like, at first it just looked like a monster. Asmongold not trying for 3 months is wild. Bro, I would not want to step within 100 yards. I'd get a restraining order just for his smell. Just for his smell. What is that? No, hold up. The base coat is gonna be brown. Why does that look more dirty than anything? We're gonna put the detail as also dirt like this. This actually looks like some parts of his non-dirty body are coming through the cracks, you know? You need just I got him already. I got him. They're in his hands and legs because he uses his hands to wipe. Wait, hold on. No. Hold up. I'm wrong. The dots. Can I get like really dark brown here? Can I get like... Ooh. No, now it just looks like he has chicken pox. He probably doesn't want... I can just imagine the crustiness that would happen back there. It is scary to think about. What do we think of this, folks? What do we think? I think this looks pretty decent in terms of Le Asmongold. It looks hideous and it looks like it hasn't showered in ever. I think we go with it. Mainly because I don't know how I can make it even more hideous. Like, that scares me. I do not want to look at that. Oh, and there's a... Oh, I forgot about this. We're a tribe. Oh, no. I've breeded. Oh, no, there's more of them. Oh, no. Okay, we're going to learn how to do stuff and we're going to grow up. Are we gonna make Asmongold an eldritch horror? I could. If we spent like an hour more on that, we might be able to make him an eldritch horror. All right. Oh my god. The lizard eyes really help make it scarier. The lizard eyes and like the fact that he has literal tail dick. It makes it so much funnier. Gotta save up that DNA, definitely. We have 46, but I think we need at least 100 or 200. Let's go explore it. Bro, that is gremlin behavior. Oh. Just scuttling around. Hold on, let's watch that. Let's watch that from afar. We're gonna go, over here. Hello, folks. Hello. We're not gonna hurt him this time. I actually want to... Hold on. Sorry, folks. Sorry, I'm back. I'm coming back. Don't you worry about it. All right, we gotta be nice to these people. We get 25 DNA if we make some allies. Mimic the other, all right? We got this. No? No? Oh, hold on. Maybe we could talk to another one. That one wasn't impressed. Maybe we could just... Dun 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 dun. Come on, let me sing. Let me sing. Touch tips. Ah, man. It's so hard to impress these people, man. Someone was playing this game in hard mode. I was asking if they had a Discord server that was struggling with the game. I wanted to send them a guide for layout. The bro said, I don't give my Discord to anyone. Patience, like it's not fair. Bro, yes, Discord, the highest form of interaction ever. The highest form, bro. You can find my Discord literally, like, if you just search up the name of the channel, you'll find it. I bet that's how it is for most content creators. What the fuck? Talking about like Discord like it's the Bible and you want a copy. You know, the only form of the Bible ever seen, and you want a copy of that. Come on, touch it. Yes, we got it. He is very small though. Oh man. If, but it's wild he's acting like that. Man, if somebody asks for your Discord and you don't want to interact with them, you can just say, sure, and just see what they send you. Like, for most of the time, if I don't want people to send me their Discord, I tell them, like, you know, tell me where I can find it on YouTube in chat, or like, tell me what to look up. Like, I know, like, in the past, people have asked for my Discord, and I've been like, no, I don't really want to give it away to you. Because, like, they wanted to be friends, and I feel like it's a little parasocial. But that's why I open a Discord server. I just tell them, join the Discord. Join the Discord server. Bro, we got 10 from that already. He didn't even have a server. Oh. I set one up early, just at the very least, if people don't chat in there, I can send, like, notifications for when I'm streaming. Oh, no, I broke him. Hold on. If I... This scuttling is insane. This scuttling is insane. I really don't try to be a friend with him. I just want to try and help him. Now, you see, then it's like, okay, you know. It's okay. And the only time I think I'd block somebody after I give them my Discord is if they were being weird. If they weren't, it's fine. Like, you don't have to be... Is that a banana? It's a human, it's a Tweety. It's a Tweety. He's like a Tweety bird. I think that's what would happen if Tweety bird died. All right, here we go. It's time to interact, folks. Oh! Okay, this is gonna be a little tough. Okay, we're gonna come back at some point. You trying to peck me? Hey, oh, what? Did he try to peck at me? Dance. You like my dancing? Look at those dancing. You like it? Don't worry, I got more for you. I got more where that came from. I think they're just too good at singing, man. They're too good at singing. Asmongold's not that good at singing, okay? Okay, they don't like me. All right, I'll leave you alone. I'll scuttle away. Are those guys dangerous? No, they're able to be allied. They look like skinwalkers, I'm not gonna lie. Told another streamer this, he said he didn't care. Well, listen, what I try to do is, like, just interact. I'm curious about stories. You guys tell me something, I'm like, damn, that really happened? Like, you know, I'm always up for chatting with people, so whatever it is, as long as it's not like something weird, I'm up for it. These guys look like some eldritch horrors, not gonna lie. No, the streamer went all Reddit on me saying, well, not everyone gives Discords. You know, it is what it is. I don't know too much about other streamers or streamers in general, so I can't really say. But these guys are like flexing on me like Dance Dance Revolution. Watch this. Oh, okay, they're not gonna like me. I'm dipping. They're not gonna like me. They are not gonna like me. All right, I'm dipping. See you guys in another world. Dude, he just didn't want interaction, so I left. I try to interact with everybody. Sometimes it does backfire when I realize who I'm interacting with are mindless bots. And then I ban him. Okay, we got the insects here. Hold up. Can I interact with them? I can. 30 DNA. All right. These are the guys we got to go with. You got more legs than brain cells, it looks like. Come on. Show it to me. He wants to sing. I got you, homie. I got you. I think I need a better mouth. I'm not going to lie. They are so much better at singing than me. Yeah, we're not gonna be able to help. Yeah, they're just like, oh, horrible singing, disgusting. Disgusting. Stay away from me. Not you, Joe. Not you, Joe. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about these guys. They're just like, ugh. You can't sing, you can't be friends with us. Let's see what we can find, though. We need to get some more of these. Bro, they're backing away from me like I'm a dangerous predator. I mean, like, I'm not the greatest looking, but you don't have to do that. They're just like, bro, he walks weird. Freaking hell. You start a new job tomorrow? What's the job? If you don't mind me asking, by the way. Some people are a little sensitive about that. Congratulations, by the way. Congratulations. Alright, I think we should head home. Home nest. We got 56 and we got a bunch of stuff, so let's start heading back. It's a vitamin shop? They can't take the stank. Man, I'm not too bad. Look, whatever's trailing me isn't stank, okay? You saw that? That's just dust, okay? That's not stank. Bro, that actually lines up so well. That looks like stank is emanating out of his ass cheeks. Oh, I love it. I have a lot of, if I choose to fight something though, I think I can actually, oh, hold on. Gum. Small tidy shop is all about wellness of the customer. Oh, that's nice. Nom nom. Nom nom. You wanna go? You know, these could have been friends I made, but I'm not gonna lie. They look so weak, I just want to eat them. Not gonna jest or joke around, right? They just look so weak, I don't even want to be friends with them. I'm handing it! I didn't even wash my hands, man. Disgusting. Emanating from the leg and the ass cheeks. It's going at. Small tidy shop sounds nice though, honestly. Let's eat more. Eat him till he disappears. Guys, I think we might have somebody following us. Not gonna lie, I think we might have a visitor. Shh, don't say anything. Don't say anything. First of all, I'll tell you, a better streamer than most because they really suck with conversation skills. They don't ask questions. They don't keep conversations. Some streamers are like AI. That happens sometimes, you know? I think some people just, like, I always like talking to people. I like, no matter what, you always ask questions. It's just how I am. I've been like that forever. Some people, they struggle with communication, you know? And it does happen a lot streaming, I know. I've gone into, like, I like playing RimWorld a lot, and that does happen. Get close to him and use a rotten breath, that'll deal with him. I hope he's still there. Let's see. But you know what? It happens sometimes, but when you find a streamer you like, some people like it when they don't want to talk, you know? Some people like it when they don't talk. Oh, it's my home ground. Bro, what? No, I just chucked that, bro. I'm a wife beater. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I really love you. I apologize. I didn't do that on purpose, okay? I always ask questions. It's the best way to get people to chat, man. It's the best way. Another way I've found is just talk. You know what I mean? Even if no one's here, if you have one viewer, it won't be good if somebody comes in and you're just like silently brooding and playing a game like you would on your off time. You have to interact, even if it's just with yourself, and get comfortable with just talking to yourself. Because I did YouTube a little bit before this, and the main thing you do is talk to yourself. It took me like a year to get used to it. Oh, here we go. Here we go. What do we want, folks? What do we want? I'm thinking, not gonna lie, I'm thinking we do something that is less about actually helping the character and more funny. Where is it? Nobody comes for my cheeks. Nobody comes for my cheeks, you hear me? Nobody's gonna get my cheeks. They try. They're gonna get the pincer maneuver. No, I'm messing. I wish I could get the spray bucket, because that really does look like a star. For real, people be brooding. It happens. I've gone into so many chats and they're just like, yes, this is what we need to do. Then we need to do this. Like, they're just talking to themselves, which is normal, but they're like brooding, talking to themselves. Oh, we can rotate it. They see me rolling, rotating. All right, we actually need to do something now, though. We have 57, and I think we'd actually get some sneak or health. Hold on, health? Bone knee pads. Oh, we got some knee pads on us. extra strength knee pads, folks. Extra strength knee pads. But you know what? Asmongold would never wear that. Asmongold would always go in with violence. I joined your Discord server. It says pending. Yeah, I have to, I had a little bit of a bot problem a little while ago as someone joined and spammed it. So for now, at least, I'm just, manually accepting them. I will thing you in a second, though. We should get some knee pads, though. You know what? Let's get some arm pads and such. Asmongold, you know, he's not much one for this, but I think we should at least get some nice things, you know? You got some nice things every now and then, buff him up. He's not the basic old one. He's the new one. He's the strong one. And he is angry. Look at him. That actually looks like that actually looks kind of good. All right, we're accepting that. There we go. Come on. Yeah, look at me. And now I'm adult. My balls dropped in 0.5 seconds. That just happens in the RIM world. You know, Edge, why are you opening? Have you ever had that where like you're doing something, you click on something on your taskbar and then Edge just opens? I don't even know what, I gotta uninstall that. Why do I have Microsoft Edge on my computer? Why is the Microsoft Edge even near me? We're going hunting though. I need more of those DNA points. Let's see if we can find an unsuspecting victim. I thought this was a nest for a second. I was gonna be like, unsuspecting victim found. Oh, wait, what? Groovy? What is that? Bro, that just oh, wait a second. How many points do I got on my side at the moment? 90. Oh, I can take you. How far can I spit? Gotcha! Get absolutely wrecked. From downtown, folks, from downtown, he got absolutely wrecked. We're spamming it now. I solved that by uninstalling Windows. You know, I just uninstalled Systems 32. That really solves all my problems that I have. Trust. It's just like Alt F4ing, you know? It fixes all video games. Yeah, any more people around you? I sensed that guy wasn't the only one following me. But I have to find him. Here, guy. I'm so friendly and I'm not gonna kill you. Oh wait, these guys might have seen what I just did. Oh, the Doobers! Hey, Doobs! What's up, Doob? What's up? How you doing, Doob? Oh, you wanna go, do ya? Wait, hold on. No. These guys are actually gonna wait a second. We got a Tormac. They got 15, 18. Alright, we're all good. Folks, it's time. Here we go. Pause right here. Get him. They're all coming for us. You think you could stop me? The gang is here, and you're all dead. Get him. Everybody with me right now. You get DNA points, just kill Nets and befriend him. We got this. Woo! Hallelujah. Oh, you're trying to run away? Oh, children don't get non-acceptance from this. Get back here. He's trying to run away. Get him. Charge! Bro, I think I'm sniping him from downtown. How you doing there, buddy? Oh, he is so dead. He is so dead. Hey guys, you wanna, listen, I'm a little busy right now, but you wanna talk to my gang? You wanna talk to my gang? I'm sure they'd love to hear your complaints. I'm sure they'll love to hear it. Get absolutely wrecked. The Doobs tried to kill us first, okay? I did not try to kill them first. That is... What the fuck was that? What was that? They just straight up just went like, all right, I'm about to rotate out of here. And we're gone. All right, we've killed 3 different civilizations so far. I think that's a pretty good start. Oh, he's dead. I think that's the one we sniped from a distance. And we've gotten 70 already. I'm gonna give him so many limbs. What job do you work? I wish I worked a job at this point, not gonna lie. I don't have a job at the moment. I am looking for a good old job-a-roni. Just finished uni at the beginning of this year and now looking for a good old job. But no one wants me. No one wants a man unless I have the damn experience from another life. I need enough experience to handle 5 different jobs at the same time as one person, or I'm not good enough for him. I don't care if it's an entry-level job, you better have 30 years of experience on 9 different things that you don't even need. I need everything. Experience bullshit. It's the cycle. The cycle of need job for experience, but need experience for job. It's kind of like my dilemma right now, you know. I could not kill him, but I really want to. And so I'm going to. But I could befriend them, but I'm not going to. Munch, munch. Say goodbye to your bloodline. Hey, yo, what? What? He's literally the guy that's like, we need experience with entry-level job. I was actually looking at a few jobs today, and bro, it said entry, like under the place where I was looking, it said entry-level job on LinkedIn, right? You would not believe the bullshit they were saying. They were like, oh, it's an entry-level job, but you need to have worked in the industry for 3 to 5 years, and a few other things. And they were like, also, you need experience in these things you can only get when you're working in a job. And I'm just like, you guys don't want new people. You want 70-year-old men who have the experience you want. You want 70-year-old men, I'm telling you. Nobody other than them have the experience you so desire, good sir. No, I'd actually hope, hold on a second. We've just killed a civilization. We got 100. I need new legs and new arms. I need new legs and arms. It's time. Also, I never realized, by the way, you know how crazy my roar is? Listen to this. Bro, that sounds louder than a T-Rex. I feel like I'm getting absolutely wrecked here. Like, they're just gonna get blown away. They're gonna hear it, they'll be like, oh, their face just rips off. All right, what's up? Those ones, I want to experience that, just lie and see what happens. True. Like, I mean, at this point, I must have applied. Where's everyone? What, is it this? Hello? Where are you go? What happened? Where is my crew? Bro, there's literally only one of me left. Everyone is dead except for them. Have I been dying that much? I feel like we should have more people. Just put your work every shift and have experience and you'll get the interview. True. Alright. Boop. There we go. We got him. I'm so glad Def told me about the fact that we could just switch to the other mode, because now we don't have any more problems. All right. By the way, I don't know how this works. Is this supposed to work somehow? Oh yeah, look at that. Looks less like a penis, but this actually looks like a mortar. This now looks like you can shoot. That's actually just the penis, all right? It's coming through the middle. So sometimes they don't spawn in. Press tab. Oh, wait a second. Wait a second. Hey, yo, what? This actually looks like a good old missile. It's like, oh, say hi. Get shot. Get shot. Yeah, thank you for that. That is crazy good. What is this? Ledgerometer. How big is it? Oh, damn, what does it do? I feel like it's a flamethrower because it looks like a flamethrower. But you know what I'm gonna do? I don't wanna, I'm gonna take it off for a second. Hold up. I'm gonna rip it off. I'm gonna shove this. Hold on. Can I get you to like stand up for a second, please, sir? I need to inspect the undercarriage. Please give me a second. I'm trying to get it positioned nicely, but it doesn't want to. All right, hold on. We're using this. Is this gonna get me banned by Twitch? Is that gonna get me banned by Twitch? From down here, he looks a little too happy that I'm down here. Tickle, tickle. You gonna do anything? No, okay. Okay. Now we're gonna lower him back down. There we go. I might actually add a second pair of legs on him. Not gonna lie. Maybe this flangey too. Ooh, an ostrichopath. How's it better though? What? It still has only one. How's it better? Is it because of looks? Yo, he's a puppy now! This is getting further and further away from Asmongold, but I feel like at the same time it is getting more and more realistic to Asmongold. This is how he looks because he's sitting in his chair all day, guys. This is how he looks because he's sitting in his chair all day. Oh, it's so good. Yes. Damn! Damn! Can I expand that? Oh! Oh, I think I saw a meme about this once. Damn. Is Jeff doing something worse? A redder power monitor. This, yeah, and he's just flexing his balls for the world to see. I'm loving this. He merged with the chain. Alright, and he's also got this below. You know what I'm actually gonna do with this? I actually want to... There we go. It's a little nicer now. A little nicer. We do have it exposed at the back, but it seems pretty good for now. What should we, let's see, what should we add on to him? Any ideas, folks? What should we add on to him? Most folk I had was Aldi. I had to work as the cashier, but fast as fuck. Cleaning the whole store, Instacart, cleaning the bathroom. I'm not gonna lie, that sounds like some form of slavery. That sounds like work-based slavery. That is insane that you had to do so much. Listen, I can't speak because I haven't had a job before. But that does sound pretty crazy. I'm pretty sure that's not how you're supposed to be treated in a normal job. Life-sized, folks, life-sized. Life-sized! I can't stop laughing at this. It is so funny. I might never leave this because of how funny it is. I'm gonna move his hands a little back as well, just so he has a little more spread to like give you a nice little hug, okay? Now let's see, we have 41 left. We could add some sneak. Can we add anything for singing? I did need a little bit of singing on ya. Dancing, we can get 2 for the 2-paw. 2-paw me-maw. Better mouth, maybe? More mouth, wait, hold on. More mouth, better sing. More mouth, better sing. He's getting another mouth. He's getting another 2 mouths. Guys, trust me, that is not a double chin you see. That is 2 mouths fused into 1. It took away the points. It took away the points, so it's 2 mouths fused into 1. All right. Asmongold Plus. You know, I actually really want to, let's do Twitch, Asmongold. After this, I'm going to upload this, and I want to see what people think. The sing doesn't stack? No! It doesn't stack! You know what? At least it looks funny. At least out of all of this, it looks hilarious. Transformed into what you see now after fusing with his chair. As we go on, I'm gonna add to the lore of Asmongold Plus. As we go on, we're gonna add to the lore and it's gonna be incredible. Here we go. Yes! 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 What? They're going away? Where are they going? What? You can't be leaving me now? Bro, they just left. They were here for my coming of like my birth, and then they were like, alright folks, clap it up, we'll see you in 50 years. I'm gonna dip now. Your species is migrating to a new nest. Follow them and find a mate and claim a new home base, ayo. Bro, I was just born. What do you mean claim a new, like, mate and claim a new home base? I just got here. Okay, it's showing me on the map here. Can I? Oh! Does that really work? Oh no, it's just clicking there. All right, let's get going then. We gotta get to the new nest. Speed! Come on, speed! I feel like we need to give him more legs. He's doing the right pose. He's doing the Yororichi pose, if you guys have seen that. If you haven't, you're not old enough, don't look it up. My God. All right, there we go. Let's go to where we're thinking. I see it over there somewhere. What are you? Is that a thing stacked on top of a thing? They're running so far. Hold on. Hold on. I don't want to drown, but hold on a second. Yay! Hello! What are you guys? Friend! Friend! Dance. Let's go. Dance off! What did you do, bro? To who? Oh, they're dancing. They're dancing. Ah. Ooh. Hey. Oh. Ba. Beep. Scoobly baba. They hate us. Nope, they don't like us. I don't think we can even do what they're doing. I don't think my legs bend in the same way as yours. Oh, it's a minotaur. It's like a weird minotaur thing. Okay, I'm gonna go then. Have a good day. Bro, it's hiding its child from me. Like, what are you? Why are you exposing that thing underneath you? Well, my child should not be involved in your presence. All right. I'll leave it be then. I'll leave it be. Damn. He's not that bad, okay? He's not that bad. Hold up. They can't be thinged with. Oh, wait, we gotta go. We gotta go. 30 health points. That feels like way too many. No! 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 Leave me alone! No! Oh! Oh, come on, man. Just as I realized, they sneak attacked me from the back. They were like, boom, sneak attack. You were killed in battle. When wounded, retreat to the nest and heal. Yeah, when I'm killed, I must retreat to the nest. Thank you for telling me. Skill issue once again. Why don't you come fight me in real life? You're talking about skill issue, but I never seen you go head to head with something that has 30 health when you have 20. There we go. I think after this, I'm just gonna add a bunch of armor onto me. And that's gonna be my thing. Migrate to the new nest, hunt 5 brawl. We have to hunt 5 of the things that just killed me. I don't know how we're gonna do that. Not gonna lie, I don't know how we're gonna do that. Let's go to the new nest then, folks. New nest is this way. My bad. New nest is this way. Did you see what I said? I had a good relationship with the manager and the district manager. Hopefully, if I work hard, I could promote to assistant manager in a year. You better. You better. Considering how you worked for your last job, I'm scared to ask how much good work you're gonna do for this job. I must say though, like, I hope you get promoted, man. It's hard as it is to get a job. If you get promoted nice and easy, it's gonna be so good. No, I did. I meant to make friends with them. I meant to make friends. For real, I'm probably gonna do crazy work. Yeah. From what I've heard from you so far, you work hard to the bones. Soon you might just be boned from working too hard. But you gotta take time for yourself, okay? Always gotta take time for yourself. Just like he takes time to get up from his chair and walk around, okay? And just like I took the time to make this thing. Can we make a bunch more, like without... Can I just expand how many we have in our tribe? Just by going at it a little bit, you know? No, I've got to do stuff, alright. On the way to home ground base. It's going to be a treacherous journey, but we will make it there. See it on the map, actually. Can I open the map or no? I love that we actually made our home throughout, just, you know, passing all of the graves that we caused nearby. Just all of them. Just move past them, there's no trouble. I wouldn't say that he merged with the chair. Well, you know, he did as close as he could to merging with the chair. He took his ass off the chair and his bodily structure has now changed thanks to 36 hours a day sitting on the same chair, not moving. Like, you know, sometimes when you sit on chairs and you get up, they have like a nice, you know, dent so that it's easier to sit on them next time. You know, they have like that nice cushiony like dent that matches your ass. His body decided to do the same. They were like, ooh, I could do that. And it changed forever in a way that is terrifying and beautiful. Like, I mean, at least he doesn't, you know, doesn't do what he last time, you know, scuttling across the ground like a goddamn gremlin. Okay, let's get to home base. You guys good? You guys good? Rocco. Okay, we're gonna get 25 when we get in anyways, so hold up. Gonna get going. Nice. We got a mock-up jaw. Wait, hold on, what? 5 bite? Oh my god, I think I can bite through. Oh, no. I know what that means. Oh, no. No, I just want to go. My god. Look at that dent and slouch back. Have you seen Tyler 1's head dent? Have you seen Tyler 1's head dent? It is so crazy good. It is so funny. Okay, hold up. This might be the greatest journey I have ever gone on. And it is simply gonna be going to the next nest. We gotta go. Mom, follow me! We're going to the next nest. I'm actually taking one of these. I'm gonna swim there if I need to. I don't care. We're making it there. Make sure to save because it can crash a lot. Okay, that is good to know. I am gonna save like that. I'm gonna be a save goblin. Alright. Mom, you coming? What? Where are you? Well, she's literally not coming. Alright. It's time to make our way through the water. I don't like that. Oh, they're mad at me. Hold up, pause. Oh no, oh that's where their nest is? Oh, that's where their nest is. Did I just try and give them brain hemorrhages? Oh wait, here we go. Hold up, it's not messing with me just yet. I think those are actually more evolved than I am, not gonna lie. I'm just gonna swim around. You guys can't swim, can ya? Okay, they're leaving me alone for the most part. I'm playing this super safe. I don't want to have to die 5 more times before making it home. Baby Twister. I played Twister before. Go to the middle of the water. Yeah, we got it. We got it. Once we get over there, we can finally get more mouths and more things and maybe even a mouth that bites for 5. That is insane. Okay. What are those weird Furby looking things? Look at those. They look like if somebody looked at a Furby and went, you know what? We're gonna make one of those. We're gonna make one of those. Hold up, let me get extra close so you guys can see the terror. So you guys can see the horror of their beings. Look at this thing. What are you? That looks like something God messed up by accident. 38 health. Now we're making friends. We're making friends. Oh! Let's try to charm him. Oh, yo, what was that? Hold up. Let's go to him. I think they're singing. Oh no, they're dancing, damn it. I made a mistake. They special moan with the water. No. Epic Aver 1000 health. Hold up. I've got to see what that is. I've got to see what that is. That was insane. What is that? Oh my god! Is that the final boss? No, you're blind. You don't see me. I'm going this way. That is insane. I swear, I haven't seen something that crazy ever. Just don't follow me. Just don't follow me. Yeah, go eat them. Yeah, go eat them. Shh. Doesn't see us. We blend in perfectly with the grass. We blend in so perfectly. Go into the middle of the water? Wouldn't it be able to just whoop, drag me up? Oh my god, it suddenly came out of nowhere. Bro, a spider monster! It's eating my ass! No! I'm not dying yet. I refuse. Oh my god, we can make it. Man! What will drag you up? The giant bird monster. The giant bird monster that was sitting over there and had a gajillion health. Okay, we're going to swim. We're going to swim. I'm done. I'm done with land. The water now. The water is all I have now. We're going to it. The water is my new home. I was born from it and I'll go back to it. Bird won't be there. Did you not see the bird with like 4 legs and like a gajillion health? Or does it only go on land? That would be dope if it only went on land. Alright, we're swimming. Look at me swimming. I'm pretty sure I'm drowning, but we're swimming. We're swimming to where we need to go. Boys, we're on. What? Oh my. Whoever told me the water, I hate you. Man. Don't go into deep water, note to self. I think we've died in every conceivable way in the last 20 minutes. In the actual last 20 minutes, I think I've seen more deaths than anything. How am I gonna make it home? Oh, do we just follow the path? You know what? I'm following the path. I'm doing it. We're path following now, boys. We're cutting through everything. We're just going. I'm not even gonna... Are these guys good? Friend? They are shocked at me. Did I eat like half their population or something? dance time, baby. They're singing. Oh yeah, there we go. We're making friends. We're making friends, baby. We're making friends. See, everyone says I'm a genocidal maniac. But I'm actually quite a nice guy. Charm? Sorry, did you see that Easter egg? No! And so the Asmund kind of given up. Oh, you like that? You like that? I don't think this guy likes me. I gotta be honest, I don't think he likes me. I see only one thing we can do at this point. Hey, yo, don't run away! You're the guy that's supposed to be coming back. Yeah, come on. Come on. Come on. They didn't want to be friends with me, so it's time. The Asmund kind. That is crazy. That does make sense, though. Alright. Ooh, we got new legs. The quasi... Yeah, I'm not even saying that. I'm not even gonna try. Nom nom. Ah, yes. Eat with your bare hands. Chew with your mouth open. Just like a true Asmund kind would. Now, hold on. If I snipe these guys... Spit on them. You know what? I'm gonna spam both. You can't stop me. You're gonna cower in the corner and not even stop me from eating your friend? Oh, and the squeezer. Bro, I wanted to... What are they doing? Hold up, what are those doing? Asmund sapien. You know, I don't quite think we could call this a sapien just yet. Maybe once we start walking on two legs, we could consider it a sapien, but I'm not sure. Rogue Morsican. Bro, it has saw blades on it. Hello? Friend? Oh no, nah. No, 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 run away, run away, run away. I think I'm stuck, I'm stuck. It's right there, bro, it's right there, it's bro, brother, broster. I'm dipping, I'm gone. Oh shit, okay. Another species that wants to kill me. Bummer, man, another species that wants to go at me. Oh, you're the guys. Okay. I back off now. I back off. I think I actually need to go that way. Let's climb the mountain, boys. Climb the mountain. If it actually resembles a human, for sure. True, true, true. If it actually ever will resemble one. Because I'm thinking, is it really wrong if your Asmongold has 8 legs? Is it really wrong if your Asmongold does not look human, instead looks like a lizard? Like a lizard gone wrong? Oh, you wanna go? You wanna go? I'll take you. I'll take you. I'll take you. Bro met the wrong match. Come on. There we go. We've got him now. We've got him. We got him. We got him. We got him. We got him. Yes! I almost died there. I literally almost died there. Safe. And we got a sprinkle. Great, I'm gonna shove that up my ass. Don't know what that's for. Why do I hear, like, loud thumping? Alright, here we go. It's the home run, baby. It's the home run. This is actually looking beautiful now. Look at this. The color's finally back. Okay, they're confused about us. We'll leave them be. They kind of look like what humans were supposed to be before we forcibly just said no and changed our DNA. Excuse me. What, do they have 2 faces? Do they have 2 faces? Did I see a butt face over there? Okay, we're over here, we're over here. We're getting close, folks, we're getting close. Whatever those bird things are, they're also getting close. No, 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 they're mad at me, they're mad at me, they're mad at me. Get in the water! They're right there. They're literally, bro, they're right there. I can't Did he walk? We're gonna sneak around. We're gonna sneak around. They don't see me. Thank goodness. All right, time to climb a mountain, boys. It's time to climb a mountain. I feel like Forrest Gump from mountains now. All right, we're good. Send them both up. Expertise. You can call me Jason Bourne. Inbred Jason Bourne, if you will. Because I'm pretty sure that this place is more inbred than the literal, like, British monarchy. But we're making it there. We're making it there eventually. No! Leave me alone! I just wanted to live! How hard is it to want to live? Bro, now they're gonna take their turns with me. They're gonna take their turns with me now. Before even this, you know what I'd love to do? If I save, go out, and then come back in, will it? Man, that was the longest. You know what? We're not even going there, no. We're not even going there. I'm just gonna go and hunt down other tribes at this point. I'm gonna go and hunt down other tribes. I don't care. I'm not even gonna go to home base. I don't care. Home base, schmome base. I don't want to go there anymore. Because I swear, at some point, dying got boring and walking was more fun. I'd rather have a boring walk all the way to home base than deal with this. It's like real survival, you know? Real survival, where everything wants to kill you, and it will. It's not a suggestion. Death will eventually happen. The dog giraffe. Ayo, the dog giraffe? The dog-giraffe? Boys, get over here. Ayo, we did it. They're dancing. They're dancing. Gotta practice our dances in premonition. How do you like that? Okay, I didn't. Alright, alright. They're making fun of me, guys. They're making fun of me. They're deciding how they're gonna kill me. I hate not being ambidextrous. Ambidextrous? I'm left-handed. If that is explicit information, I am ambidextrous. I'm not ambidextrous, left-handed. Left-handed. Only my left hand works. The right hand died long ago. The right hand died long ago. But I do understand what you mean, though. It's like, yes, I can write with both my hands simultaneously. You can't do that. It feels like they're like higher class than us, you know. Just because you can use both your hands doesn't mean you're better than me. Except it technically does. And that's what I hate it, because they are technically right saying they're better than us. But I don't like it either way. Rococo. Rococo. I don't want to take them on. I don't want to take them on. We're just trying to get home. See, they do have a thing. Hold on, turn around. They have a butt face. See, they do have a butt face. Look at that. Is that your twin brother? You got fused at birth? They're the superior race. Yes. When I finally have shit. Run! Run! No! Leave me alone! No, it's the same guys! Bro. Bro! You know what? Maybe they are the superior race, because clearly these guys do not care to fight them, even a little bit, but they decide to wreck my ass every time they smell me around. What's the problem here? Am I too hideous for you? Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on. Don't do me like this. Also, growth spurt. A ball's dropped. Alright. Alright, I'm feeling better, guys. It's time to go on a journey. A journey now. Let's go. It's time to get home. Except we're gonna avoid the mountains. No longer am I a mountain climber. I am now a grass walker. And Asmongold's holding up pretty well, you know? Holding up pretty well. But the thing is with Asmongold is that, you know, this Asmongold's cool. We're called Das Deck, if you guys didn't notice. That is the name of my colony. Das Deck. Because I don't want to be whatchamacalls that when the YouTube video of the VOD comes up. I don't want to be demonetized, so Das Deck is who we're going with. Look at that. Is this not a beautiful part of Das Deck? He even has the Das Dick to prove it. Okay. These guys have little chainsaws on them. Can I stay with you guys for a little bit? Can I stay with you guys for a little bit? Hold on, hold on, hold on. I just don't want to go there. You see, that 250 health really seems like a lot. And I can't even snipe it from here. Hunt this for 100 DNA. Oh, you know what? Dash Deck? No, Das Deck. Like, Das Deck. See right there. Planet Das Deck has been saved. That's this planet's name. How close do I have to be? No, actually, I just realized I can't preload. I just realized I can't preload. I've changed my mind. Alright, boys. It's time to have some fun. Let's do some charming. I'm sorry, I don't have as many opposable knees as you do. Okay, they really don't like me. I feel like they're looking down on me. This looks like, you know what this looks like? That actually just looks like a combination, like it's a chimera. You added 2 more legs on a kangaroo, you gave it more buff arms, and you called it a day. That is a kangaroo straight out of Lovecraftian horror, I gotta be honest. I think it went away. I think it left. Is that it? Play it safe, boys. We're playing it safe. I'm not gonna do any mountain climbing anymore. I'm actually gonna walk around the mountain like a good boy. I'm going to walk around the mountain like a good. Oh, nope, we're going up the mountain. Change my mind at the last second. We're going up the mountain because I don't want to die. Those guys can shoot me from about a gajillion miles away, and they have eyes at the back of their head. This is where we got last time. Now, those bad guys are over here. So if I just walk to the left, far enough to the left, we should be fine. If I walk far enough to the left, I'm either gonna go off a cliff. Okay, they're medium with us. We can get by this crew. The Necry. That looks like the eye that giant monster has. No fall damage in game. Perfect. Perfect. What's up, Jar Jar Binks? What happened here? Damn, that looks like Jar Jar Binks, but like insane. Oh, the Alpha Flesh Eater. And a spider monster. What do we got over here? The Garrulak. I feel like I'm gonna get gangbanged by one of these guys at some point. Here, let's go. Jar Jar Binks is a Sith. Jar Jar. Oh no. Well, folks, it's been very nice talking to you, but I think I really have to go right now. I think there's some problem brewing, but I'm not quite sure if there is. Those are the spider people. Bro, I literally can't get past here. I can't. We're gonna die of starvation before anything, I bet. No, hold up. If I do that, all of them are gonna come at me. All the spiders. We're gonna go down and around. Oh no. Oh no. Into the water. Oh my god. They're giving me back shots. No, please. Please leave me alone. No more, please. Come on, scuttle away quickly. They're catching up to me, bro. They're catching up. They're like slowly, they're doing it like the villains in stories do. They're just slowly, ominously walking towards me. Do I watch anime? Sometimes. Which, I mean, yes. Just not as much as I used to. I remember I used to binge anime so hard a few years ago. But nowadays, I don't binge it as much. I think we gotta eat these, I gotta be honest. I think we gotta eat these. Otherwise, I'm gonna starve to death before I can get anywhere. Spiders. I wanna throw up. Oh, little baby throw up. Okay, the spiders are chill. They're not coming at me. Spiders are chill. These chickens. Is that a load of chickens? Stupid staggy. Or moopid staggy. I thought it said stupid. I'm not gonna lie. I thought for a second it said stupid. What is it like? 4? Alright, it's way too tall for me. We're heading to the base, boys. We're heading to the base. Except I don't know where the base is anymore. If I can lure one of these guys mad at me. No, they are mad at me. Turn around, turn around, turn around. They're mad at me. They're mad at me for nothing. Ooh. A natural land butthole. What's your favorite, bro? I gotta say, my taste is not good. I'll be honest. Good. My taste can be like I watched. If you guys know what Love a Life is, you know what that anime is, you'll know my taste in anime. I watched some of the trashiest anime out there and enjoyed 5 seasons of them. But if I've got to say, I'm pretty basic. Like, Psycho Pass was a very good anime that I enjoyed. Oh no, we're gonna die here. We're gonna die. We're gonna die. We're going to die! Yeah, I'm finished, boys. Boys, I'm finished. Boys, I am finished with a capital fuck on me. My god. Alright, well, we haven't made it to the home base. He probably enjoys Isekai slop. Why you gotta call me out, man? Why you gotta call me out? I used to, no, hold on. Let me rephrase. I used to enjoy Isekai slop. Nowadays, I'm much more cultured. I'm much more cultured. I'm watching, I forget what it's called. It's with that Tanya, with that little girl. You know, the one that's like a war hero or something? Yeah, I'm watching stuff with her in it. But it's fun. You know, in the middle of that war, that little girl that got like, she has like a proper gun. She's insane. I forget what the name of it. It's like Tanya goes to war, blah, blah, blah. Hey there, sick anime fan. We haven't had a sick anime to feed you for a whole lifetime. No! Ah, yes. Enough to feed me for a whole lifetime, you say. I want more. You don't understand. Back when I was watching and like really consuming a bunch of isekai slop, I would be able to watch like a season like in half a day. Because I was also in high school at the time. I'd watch like half a season in a half a day during the weekend and like carry on, you know? Ooh. Oh, these are the giraffe guys. Just call them like kangaroo, like roid raged kangaroos. That's what they basically are, yeah. Roid raging kangaroos. Okay, there's the guys that don't like me. But they won't attack me outright unless I'm really mean to them. Alright, we're fine though. I like older anime, to be honest. You know, I tried watching like the start of Evangelion, and like I could not get over the graphics. I'm not gonna lie. The story is great, but I could not get over the graphics. They're just so old, man. They're so old. But you know, if you're looking for an older anime that's good, Afro Samurai. I changed my mind. The best anime I ever watched was Afro Samurai. Not gonna lie, I watched that shit when I was like 10. And if you guys have seen Afro Samurai, you know why that is probably the most insane statement somebody has ever said. I watched Afro Samurai when I was 10 years old. Can you believe it? Evangelion is good. Much more culture to manage says Demon Slayer is peak. Demon Slayer is held up mainly by its animation. I hate to break it to anyone who likes Demon Slayer in chat, but Demon Slayer is nice until you realize the entire plot is just slay demon, Nezuko, I love you, but I'm your brother, and slay more demons. Like what I watched Demon Slayer for is the actual just straight up, you know, the animation, because the animation is peak. Zenitsu farm or farming, bro. Whenever he's just like, oh, I'm sleeping, oh, I'm tired. I'm pretty sure that's the form of. Oh, okay, there we go. Whoa! Rhino, dip! No! Bro, as soon as they attack me, I'm just gone. Demon Slayer is literally 10 out of 10 animation, 3 out of 10 story, and people love it. It's in the top 10s constantly. It just goes to show, Isekai Slop could be peak if they had Demon Slayer animation. Like, you don't understand. Nikkei is 10 out of 10 animation and boobs, and probably a really bad story. I haven't seen the Nikkei story so far. I haven't played it in a while. But I have seen the animation. I've seen some streams where I'm just like, ooh, booba luba, god damn, you know? And that's all I'm thinking. Nezuko! Do you guys know, Meat Canyon? Have you guys seen his video on Demon Slayer? His video on Demon Slayer is peak. I'm not gonna say anything more than that. Search up if you're interested, Meat Canyon Demon Slayer video. Ignore all the people who have watched it and go check it out. It is crazy good and crazy funny. It is so good. Yes, I know Meat Canyon. Then you know the culture that is coming for you. The absolute mayhem that you are about to enjoy if you watch that video. And you will still watch it because it is Meat Canyon. It is Meat Canyon, goddammit. And if it's Meat Canyon, we watch Meat Canyon. We should actually watch that towards the end of stream. Towards the end of the stream, I'm actually going to pull up a Meat Canyon video. That video went viral. I've seen so many of his videos going viral. It's worth it though. The voice acting, the animation, everything is so peak, so grotesquely beautiful that I'm not going to complain. Like, I love his stuff. Every time a new one comes out, I'm like on it. I'm on it. The only other animation channel I get that hyped for is whatchamacallit, Dungeon Soup. Dungeon Soup is so good. Who doesn't know Meat Canyon these days? I was during the days of the offender bugs. No, you're talking about that video? That video is probably like, if the Geneva Convention applied to internet things, that would be against probably everything. Everything. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm not even gonna go hunting for any, I'm not even gonna go to the base. I'm just gonna go and kill things. Yes, you got taught that little ass pussy, little man. I don't know why I said that out loud. Fuck. I don't know why I said that out loud. We gotta kill them. Get over here. Oh, you wanna come for me? Wanna come for me, do you? Stay away. Kill him. All right, finally, I'm the one not being killed anymore. Charge. Boom. And we got him. It's time to feel powerful for once. I got killed so many times, I can't feel anything anymore. And now they're gone. I wish they would stay. I wanted to eat them. I wish they would just stay, you know? Why you guys gotta be like that, you know? Why you gotta be so weak? The alpha, hold up. Pause right here. They're mid-range, all right. Maybe we can interact with them a little bit. Googa, googa. You like the look of that, Sonny? You like the look of that? What are you doing? He's singing. We gotta sing along with him. La 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 la. The smell stinks. Oh, bro. I'm gonna talk to another one. Maybe if I talk to a younger one or a smaller one, it would be easier. I don't know. Get back here. You can't escape from me. You can't escape from the stench. The stench is always with you. There we go. La 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 la. Bugs Bunny reunited with his father. No. Giving me flashbacks of the video. Here we go. Is it too... Okay, it's too small. I need to go for an adult. La 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 la. We got singing. Let's go. Singing even more. Got it. Touching tips. Yes, they're friends with us now. We finally have friends. You know how long it's been since I've made friends with somebody? You guys think I can make friends with these guys? Once allied, you can heal at their nests and eventually add them to your pack. I need this. I need this. Look at how big they are. They can jump. They have knees. We're gonna be friends with them. We're gonna be friends. Hello. Balhoang. What are you doing? Singing easy. I got the best singing voice you ever heard. Okay, yeah, I can't sing like that. I think I'm about to break the sound barrier with that amount of singing. Alright, well. We could always try these guys, but I think we need to go for lower life forms, you know what I mean? We need to go for people that are, I don't want to say stupid or weak, but stupid and weak. You know, Warner Bros. Stuck it down and it's technically canon. They... What? Really? No, no, you're jesting with me. You're gestating with me. Right? It has to be. Well, you know what? Now that I think about what Warner Brothers has done in the last... That's not above them. Warner Brothers just casually ruining a good childhood character. Yeah, he's a sex offender. Yeah, that's definitely part of the lore right there. 6 years ago, they took it down. I was about to Google it. I was about to go on YouTube and be like, Warner Brothers accepts that Bugs Bunny is a sex offender, confirmed. Oh my god. I don't want to mess with you. Hands up, hands up. Balls down. I don't want to mess with you. I'm good. That guy is tall, man. Is that 6 feet tall? I think I see a 6-foot man right here. These guys are also mad at us. I wonder, can we make them fight without bothering us? Can I just be like, yes, you will all fight. Fight to the death for my entertainment. Could I have that? Also, by the way, I need to turn up the music. I don't know about you guys, but for me, the music is a little low. Maybe like there. And put it on high quality. High quality. Mad at me? No. Hey, these guys aren't mad at me. What's this? What's that? Don't mind me, just eating someone's spine. Croc kisser. Oh, we gotta... I gotta put that on. I gotta put that on. Oh, sorry, no links in chat. They saved it on Internet Archive. All right, we're doing that. Flesh eaters, avoid, 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 avoid. Run away, run away, run to the mountains. Run to the mountains. Internet Archive. All right, we're gonna be checking that out soon. We got stick, boys. Stick! We have stick! Have you guys ever gone into your garden or like gone into a garden, just seen a really good stick and be like, yes, that's a really good stick. I do that constantly, and I don't know if that's odd. Like, I go into the garden, I see a stick that's like longer than Gandalf's staff, and I'm like, yeah, it's a pretty good stick. That's a pretty good stick, actually. I kind of like that stick. Pretty good. Pretty good stick. I like that stick. You know what I can do? You know what I can do? Oh no, here we go. Run all the way back here. Time to go. Time to go, buddy. Time to go. 4-1, 4-1, 4-1, 4-1. 4-1, 2-5, 3-5, 7-9, 2-5, 7-9. I am getting pretty hungry. There we go. Nice. We finally got some food. Yes, raging lore. Yes, I have a garden. Num 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 num. Hey, I need to eat that thing. Hold on, where is it? There it is. Hold on. Go over here and munch on it. There we go. I almost didn't eat it. I was like, oh, that's fine, that's fine. That's my blue ability. The roar. I could, ooh, wait, I need, we don't need any more food for now, but I do kind of want to kill the flesh eaters. It would allow me to walk through. I think we have to try and go for him, right? Snipe him. Get absolutely wrecked. Oh no, they're all coming for me. They're all coming, they're all coming, they're all coming. All right. One-on-one, baby, one-on-one. Oh no, I'm dying. Oh, because the baby was munching on my balls. Oh, no wonder. No wonder. Oh, I can't take 2-on-1 scenarios. If I had the gang with me now, we could take every scenario. And I can't even mate to, like, get my thing up, because this is technically my mother. And I don't think we can. We can't sneak, though. I didn't realize that. Yeah. Sneak. It doesn't want to mate with me. Note that. It doesn't want to. Even though we are dying a bunch, befriend your mom. I think we are befriending her. Mother! I thought we were already befriended. Oh! We are befriended. Can you come with me? I don't know we could befriend our bros. Hello, friend. You've added a creature to your pack. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's time! Oh, I'm ascending! We've unlocked something completely new. We're ascending, folks. It's time. It's time. 2-1-2. I can take him anymore. I can take him now. Let's go. What's this? Empty? Yeah, of course. Of course it is. I killed them all. Okay, autopilot. Autopilot, send me away. As soon as we get near someone that is like 2 of them, we're just gonna be like, boop, and then we're gonna kill him. We're gonna kill him good. Let's go. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Because I get 25 when I get to my nest, and also I get to fuck. And that's what we need right now. We need to mate and bait. We need to get extra strong, because right now, Asmongold's not holding up too good, you know. Do these guys want to kill us? No, okay, they're confused. They're confused on what I am. Mom? Where'd you go? Hello? Get back here! Over here, hey! How do I control her? Hello, she's just running away now. Get back here! Oh, she's just far away. How do I get her closer? Okay, so I guess she's gonna be coming with us, but she's gonna be a little far away. I kind of wanted us to stick together, you know? We gotta stick together in these trying times, otherwise somebody's gonna eat us. She'll just follow you. She'll just follow. Okay, okay. I thought I need her like close by, you know? Near close by. I do need to remember the role. I do need to remember that. I always forget the role. I feel like my brain sometimes is like a 3-second timeout. You know, sometimes I remember things for about I remember it, and then after a while it's like do 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 do. We're going the wrong way as well. We're going the wrong way. Somebody was probably just screaming in the chat, "You're going the wrong way! Going the wrong way!" Oh, I don't think we can roll that out of existence though. That is a rogue Soren. It has literal soul blades. Get away from me! Now we're going home. Let's go, folks. Let's go. Nice. Alright, they're good with us now. 100% Dr. Ooh, Dr. Stone was good. I think it's right. I watched season 1 of Dr. Stone and I was like, yes, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I want in an anime now. And then season 2 came about and I got a bit bored because they weren't like doing they were doing more story stuff and like, I didn't like the story stuff they were doing. Gotta be honest, did not like it one bit. It got kind of boring. Yeah, season 2 was boring. Yep. Okay. We just need like one of them, like a stray one. Just come out. Run away, 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 run away. Whoa. Those guys are insane. All right, we're good. I think we can actually take, is this guy's up here nice to me? Are you guys nice to me? Okay, that one's also nice. We need to eat. I hate to lie here. But we do need to munch. Boom. Now we spam it. We only need to eat, okay? What, Mom? Mom, come chow. You can come eat too, it's okay. You can eat. Oh, these guys are confused about us. The Alpha Mumpuwug. Season 3 is better, but I have to get through season 2 though. Like, to give you an idea, I watched 2 episodes of season 2 and I was done. That's how bad I felt it was. These guys are just watching. They're like, oh my god, they're killing Jerry. They're killing Jerry, oh my god. We got more brain cells as well. Brain expando. I need to masturbate. That's the first thing you think is more brain power. Another step towards sentience. Your brain is larger, your statue grander, your pack has now room for 2. Munchy munchy time. Okay, hold up. We're ignoring these guys. We're dipping, we're dipping. Mom, we're dipping. Ma! Ma, we gotta dip, Ma! We gotta dip, we gotta dip. I don't know where to go because they're all around us. Are you guys also mad at us? They're also mad at us. Can we take down the monkeys? Can I take down a pack of monkeys? How much health do you got? Nope. We're walking down. I swear, they're like waiting for me to come down this mountain. They're like waiting. And I'm gonna oblige. You can have the high ground, don't mind me. The high ground is all yours. The high ground is all yours. We almost have the roar still going. The roar just needs to, we need to power it up, you know. We use it too many times, our throat just explodes. So we do need to calm down for a little bit. By the way, I just gotta say this, I know it's not necessary, but like, thank you for watching. Everyone who's watching right now, thank you for watching. am so happy that you guys are enjoying what I'm watching. Stay away! Okay, nope, that didn't work! That didn't work! That didn't work! My God, we gotta get him. There we go. There we go. You guys want to keep going? Okay, this one's mad. That one's kind of fine. Wait, we're actually so powerful now. Ma! Oh no, somebody's gonna die. Somebody's gonna die here. Oh no. Nah. Bro, we were so close. My brain power. No. We took down 2 of them with us. We took down a whole 2 of them with us. Oh no. It's fine, it's fine. We have that extra brain power. I'm pretty sure we have that extra brain power still, right? Right? Yeah, we do. All right, we're good. We're good. Walk. And we got you know, we have been dying a lot, but we have 121 DNA points, which, like, that is so many DNA points. We'll be able to upgrade Asmongold to a new form. Like, I'm gonna strip him bare once we're done here and remake him from the ground up. Just straight up the ground up, you know? But for now, we are gonna have to do a little more of Walking Simulator.mp4. Walking Simulator game ride here, you know how it be. You guys not like me? No, we're still good. We're still homies. We're still homies. Look at that guy. I can't believe that there would be like a group of them. I still can't believe there'd be like a group of them. I'm backing off, I'm backing off. Spinny blades are insane. You're telling me that's that's like natural? Nothing about that is natural. Absolutely nothing. And I forgot to get Mom. Oh my God, I forgot to get her. Surely wandering off dying. No! Ah! I forgot to get her. We gotta go back. We gotta go back. I forgot to get her. No! Alright. Just gotta go past the just straight up roided out centaur kangaroos. You know, Australia's crazy. Australia's crazy these days. You know, this is post-war Australia. Just like in Fallout when things just, you know, they mutated and they went crazy. This is what happened to the kangaroos in Australia. They became powerhouses. Absolute Giga Chad powerhouses. I hope she's still there. I actually hope she's still there. Otherwise, I don't know what we're gonna be doing. Hello? Hello, hello, hello? Mother dearest, please don't be dead from diseases or something bad. She's gone. She's gone. She's gone. We're gonna have to make the journey there without her, folks. The journey there is gonna be harsh. We're gonna have to go by many things, but we're gonna go alone. She'll find her way there. She'll find her way there. It's gonna be okay. She'll find her way there. But remember, don't go too far in the water. We're not that big yet. $38 is insane though. Not gonna even joke. 38 is insane. Can I like scooch through the middle? No, I can't. No, I can't. I can't do that. Hold up. Hold up, hold up, hold up. Oh, nah. Kid, don't do this. Bro, I'm surrounded. I'm surrounded in every form. And they're really mad at me. Well, time to scooch a little by. Don't mind me, just casually swimming by. You know, doing the ye old things. Okay, well, they're mad at me now. They're extra mad at me. You know what? I'm gonna lull one of you out. You're going down with me, you hear me? Okay, we're gonna walk for a little bit, then we're gonna turn around and get him. Get him. There we go. There we go. This is dinner today, boys. We got dinner. Oh, wait, what? They have such a more powerful bike. That's not right. That's illegal. We're gonna go see Mom, boys. Boys, I actually did that on purpose because then we can go see Mother a little earlier. I did that on purpose so that we could go and get Mother. Because I can't do anything without Mama. She raised me when the tribe literally left 2 hours ago. She's with me all the time. There we go. There we go. The bond is back, baby. The bond is back, and the Bundus is Bundus. Let's go. Oh, I forgot I have Roar. I could have just scared him and stunned him. Oh my god. I could have scared him and stunned him. That would have worked, actually. What is this? I can have more than one monster? Really? I can have more than one freak in my pack? Oh, I didn't know we could have another freak. Imagine, I have another freak. They're really cool, they're really powerful. They come across this thing. They come across this thing in the wild. Okay, we're gonna go over here for now. We're actually doing kind of good. We're avoiding them pretty decently. They're also not messing with me this time. Yeah, alright. It's the mom aura, okay? Her just being there is like, no, you will not touch my poor boy kind of energy, you know? Okay, up and over the crystal rock area. That looks dope, man. Look at that. I wish we could build like a house in there, you know? Have the crystal house. Whenever somebody's like, oh, where are you guys? Like, we're trying to find your house. We're like, look for the big stone crystal. You can't miss it. You can't miss the big stone crystal. Hi, folks. How you doing? Can we make friends with them? Here we go. Singing. Oh, I got singing down. Yeah, they maybe got singing a little more down. Not gonna lie, maybe they got singing a little more down. They're also dancing a lot. We can dance really good. Look at these leg movements. Watch these leg movements. Oh. Ah. Okay, hold up. Let's try that again. Once more. What are they doing? Thrusting. Singing? I got that. I'm on the singing. Can I talk to somebody else, perhaps? You guys are really mean. Oh, let's go. Ah, woo! I shouldn't have done that. Ah, yes, charming. I have one of those too. You check that out, huh? Check that out. They're dancing. We can't dance as well. My knees are a little broken from the last 20 fights. But we got this, we got this. Come on! Oh. We need level 2. Level 2 is gonna be able to get us everywhere we need to go. Alright. We're marching in the correct direction now, let's go. I tried to make friends with them, but oh no. Okay. Bottom and shoot him, bottom and shoot him. Hey, you guys know that your boy right here is kind of dying, right? He's gonna be my midday snack. You know how it be. No, both of you come back here. Eat. I think that's the alpha. I actually want to run away. Fuck. Can I not roll? Roll! There we go. Get him. Get him. He's weak. No, Mom! No, man! Oh, we're gonna die too. You know, this is actually canonical at this point. Asmongold is the weak. Survival of the fittest. Asmongold goes outside and tries to fight. Surprise, surprise. Dead every time. My God, I'm not even playing this up for the screen or anything. I'm not playing it up, guys. I'm not. Trust me, I'm not. There we go. All right. Tickle, tickle. Oh, that tickle, tickle. Oh, that's so cute. All right. Autopilot mode. Follow me. Let's go. When we get near somebody that looks like they might be a bit angry, we'll roar and we'll run away. We'll run away. As long as it's not the alpha, they should be nice to us. They should. They should, out of moral principle, okay? In the law of the jungle, there should be a moral principle. Oh, she's over there. Oh, I was looking back there like, where are you? She was in the grass. All right. That's the nice thing about the Asmongolds, though. Even though they can't fight, they can definitely blend in. Look at that. You can't even see them. Can't even see them at all. Oh. Ignore me, ignore me, ignore me. I'm not, no, ignore me. Keep going after them. No one here wants to fight you. No one here wants to get you. Keep fighting them. Yep, they're so dead. They are absolutely so dead. Got these guys. I think we just go up the mountain. Up the mountain is a little scary though. We can just go around. Hug the walls or something. I don't know if roaring will work here. Leave us alone. All right, there we go. Stun. 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 Run! We're doing it. We did it. We made it past them. Let's go. Are you guys friendly? Friendly? Oh, we made it. Let's go. Finally. Oh my God. You guys are in the middle of this horrible shit show. We did it. We did it. Finally. Yes. It's been so long, bro. I'm about to cry, man. It's been so, I've never been happier to see a more hideous bunch of people or bunch of things. You claim this next future generations will be brought here. And boys, you know what that means. Who wanna? Let's go! Alright, we're about to create a new Asmond. A new Asmond that we'll keep for a little while until we go to the next area. The way he lies down is just so... There we go. Beautiful baby boys. Beautiful. Ooh, the croc kiss of mouth is so fun. Mwah. Croc kiss him. Mwah. Now we can actually sing and charm very well. Let's see. Graspers pick up and use objects in the world. We do have a bigger bite force as well. We do have a bigger bite force. What is this? Bite 3, Sing 1. I think this one's best. We do only have a little bit to go though. With this, I think we'll need like more of something. We need more mouths, you know what I mean? We need to bite more. You know what I mean? It looks even goofier now. That looks even goofier, not gonna even joke. Oh, yo, what? Can we have them? Oh, we can't have him on his hands. Really? Ah, it's lacking. That's lacking. Oh, charm level 2, a whip. Ah, yes, my name is Master Shifu. My name is Master Shifu. Why does that look so funny, man? Why does that look so funny? There we go. We got this. Oh no, but it ruins my joke of tiny dick. Oh, hold up. Hold up. The tiny dick joke needs to continue. We need to continue it. There we go. I think I need to actually, you know what? He's beautiful just the way he is. And I don't think we can actually afford any knee pads or anything. All right. But we do have all the stuff we would need otherwise. He's turning into a little more like a less Asmongold and more Master Shifu. So I'm gonna take these off. We don't need these. What is that? A Springle. Charm level 3. I feel like that's something I'd see. Like, that just looks like an organ I'm supposed to have inside of me. Ooh, jump and glide. He can fly. Oh, we're gonna give him bat wings. We're gonna give him bat wings. He's eating so much food, he got the bat wings now. All right, that is incredible. I love that. Jumping and gliding. All right, we gotta add to this. Due to the transformation, his Penilus Smallest is always on full display, and due to the hold on, I need to spell nor. The large amount of fast food ingested, he has formed skin wings. Oh, is that it? Oh, he also has skin wings. Oh, that's it. Oh, I wanted to write a biography. Hold on. How's this looking so far? Yeah, I wanted to write a biography. Monster skin wings. There we go. We have the new Asmongold, folks. Little bit stronger, 10 times goofier, and he's a charming man to be around. You may not like his face, but you'll like what he has to say. There we go. Asgoldians! Rejoice! That's what they're gonna be called. That is genius. Asgoldians. Folks, I don't think these guys are gonna like us. Folks, I don't think these guys like us at all. You know what we do to folks that don't like us. Look at that. How much bite you got? You got 4 bite and 2 strike. Well, guess what? I got the same thing, except I'm on home ground. We're taking him. The whole gang is here, folks. The whole gang is here. Get ready. The whole gang has come to munch you to death. The whole gang is here to kill you. Somebody fire out of your butthole. He's running away. Now you know what? Hold steady. Hold steady. Aspen goes, hold steady. Oh my god, they're running after him. Everyone, get back here. We need to make friends with everyone so that they all come with us. We're not moving unless everyone likes me. Let's go. Dance time. Bro, I zoom dance. I'm incredible. You. No, I didn't want to mate. No, I didn't want to. We don't need this. This is the one time I'm just saying it's too much. I don't need to do this. I'm not gonna make any changes. He's beautiful. He's done. He's completed. And he's also thrusting into the ground to impregnate it with a beautiful baby egg. Yeah, we don't need to do anything with this. All right. Well, there we go. Okay, we're gonna make friends with everyone here now. Everyone here is going to come with us. You've already impressed that creature. What about you? Oh wait, hold on. This guy was it. This guy was it. No? Does that mean they're all gonna come with us when we ask? Are they all coming with me? Hold on, are they walking with me? Wait a second. Two of them are coming. I don't know about the rest of them. Maybe there needs to be a small amount of them to stay back. Can I not get one more? A group of 4 is better than a group of 3. No. I want to talk. Ready, impressed. Oh, it's a female. Oh, that's why. We can't have females go to war. A Troglor, ignore that. What is this thing over here? This thing is a shimp. That sounds like a prey animal. Everybody, we're about to take on the shimps. You gotta be ready. Sneaky time, baby. Also jump. Draw them out. 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 Come on, how many of you are really gonna come for me, huh? How many of you are really gonna come for me? We're back at base. Folks, I brought dinner. Folks, I brought all the food you're ever gonna need. They're right here. They're right here, and one's running away like a little baby. Enjoy the food. Enjoy the food. We're finally stronger. More powerful than before. All right, you're welcome, everybody. Enjoy the food. Have your fill. Have your fill. I think we should send him to extinction. I think that's about the right option right here. They're kind of crowding in on my space. I think we need to send him home. Where are they? Did I lose them already? But I swear they were right here. Oh, there they are. Hold on a second. Group of 3's gone out. Everybody. Far and we. There we go, we're dipping now. We're dipping. Everybody make it back. Everybody run in. Everybody run in. Oh Lord, we gotta help him. We're gonna help Jerry. There we go. The leader's dead. Do a little bit of a roar to scare him. And we're spamming him. Ooga, 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 ooga. You guys want to go? You guys want to go? We can still go. We can still go. I don't mind. I don't mind. Come on. Only one of us are dead. That's fine. Oh, wait, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, wait, hold on a second. We're kind of getting picked off here. I don't like this. We're kind of getting picked off a little bit. The home base! It's right there! No! Oh, we got right by home base. Right there. I'm coming back for you. I'm coming back, but smarter. Instead of stupidly running away, I'm gonna come fight you. I'm gonna get him. All right. We're here. Everybody's here as well. You know, this is actually kind of small. Kind of remember us having a lot more people. Wonder where they went. Wonder where they went. There we go. We get some people on our team, yeah. Come on, second attempt. Second attempt. Ugh. Ugh. Show it. Boom. Second person on the team. Now, since we can't do anything else, let's go find some prey animals. Let's go find some prey animals that I can munch on. Who are those guys? They're shocked at us. Oh, the Schlebus. You know, that checks out. That checks out. I did almost try to massacre them. That's probably why they're mad at me. But listen, it's not that big a deal, okay? It's not that big a deal. Everybody tries to massacre everybody every other day. We cool, we cool. We cool, homies. Don't try kill me. Don't try kill me. You guys are a lot stronger than me now, so don't try kill me. We homie, we good. If we really wanted to, like, min-max this game, you know what we could do? We could try to make something other than Asmongold. If we wanted to really min-max this game, we'd actually be smart and make something other than Asmongold. Are those two fighting? Oh, yes, fight! Fight! Rip each other apart! Everybody's getting sent in for that one. Wait, not everybody. It's a big one. Can I take a peek at what? Run away. Okay, here we go. I didn't mean to come fight you guys. I was just watching. Leave me alone. I was just watching, please. And now we eat and leave. Eat and leave. Eat and leave. Eat and dip and dots. We're getting out of here. I know those spots. Are you about to go in? You can't do that. Bad idea. Oh, here we go. Somebody that doesn't want to kill us. Somebody that doesn't want to kill us. We can maybe make our second alliance. Second alliance. What do you think? Let's make friends with them. What do you want? Singing. I got singing. Oh! Oh, they were showing that. Oh, whoopsie. Let's go. What do we got? Singing? I'm rock on singing. Singing again? All right. We're not good enough at singing. Is my singing not good enough? Okay. Is my singing not good enough? Well, you guys seem to have your own things having to go on, so I'm gonna just dip, all right? No! My buddy! Bro. I'm running away with these guys. I'm with these guys. Eat them first, not me! Eat them first! Eat them first! Not my beautifully sculpted ass, please! Oh no! That is our 70th death. Am I counting? No. That's probably what it is, though. Damn it. Damn it. Oh, we need to make something stronger. Should we go back to the drawing board? I think we should. We have Asmongold. He is beautiful. Maybe we should go somewhere else, you know? Unknown species. Oh, that's the species that really hate us. No, let's not go there. I changed my mind. We don't want to go there. Yes, love. Yes. Yes. Yes, love. Love. Yes, love. Good old love. Good old love, baby. Good old love is gonna do everything for us that we need. I still want to keep the basic structure of him, but I'm gonna change to like more useful things, you know? We're gonna keep the basic structure, so those legs are still gonna look exactly like that. But we are gonna take off everything. And I mean everything. Even the butt. Even that weird thing that we put on there. Even the leaves. Even the penis. We're starting from almost scratch. I'm still keeping this on. This stuff here on, I'm still keeping it on. Yeah. We're still keeping those on. Let's see. Masakara, what is that? Oh, it's something random. Alright, hold on. Let's go to weapons. We need all of the weapons. I need all of them. I need them yesterday. I need them even better than before. Strike. I didn't have strike before. Strike level 2 might be handy. Get those on. Look at those hands. Look at those hands. We got 350 to mess with. So we're gonna make... Why don't we give him more hands? Wait a second. Why don't we give 4 hands? It looks horrible, yes. But what if we put it higher? And then gave them strong grippers. Look at that. Boom, you know, slap from the top. This is starting to look pretty decent, I'm not gonna lie. Ooh, that kind of just looks like we're about to just be like, oh, you don't want me to slap you? Boom! And like just slap him a bunch, you know? Just like getting ready for the power up to slap him. Level 3 bite health. Level 3 bite charge. See, that's only level 4 bite. I think we should go for one of these. What does this look like? Oh, pincers. I kind of like this one though. It just gives him the Asmondy look. And we still want to try and keep that at the very least. There we go. This is starting to turn out like Alien Isolation. You know those Alien games? With those very freaky monsters. Yep. We also do need to be faster, so I am gonna give him more legs. Thigh Strider. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. 6 legs, 4 arms, a face like that. He is intimidating, must say. He's gonna jump far. That is the most epic sneak ever. What about... Can I not jump yet? I can't jump, apparently. All right. Square foot. Charge, sneaking. That is expensive, though. Not gonna lie. Oh, spit level 2. And strike level 2. Spit level 3. Spit level 2 and health. Oh, yeah. Sorry. That looks like a real poker. Now that does really look like a good poker. We're gonna be shooting all our shit all the way to the moon, boys. All the way. And it comes out the front. Yes, it does. Don't be mean to him. It's a genetic condition. What else do we need for our incredible boy? The suck feet feel like they don't really help. I'm gonna take the suck feet away. Let's give him palm walkers. I feel like that's faster, actually. Sprint level 1, jump, sneak level 2. There we go. And then what else? Speed 1. He is looking incredible. I don't know if we could still call this Asmongold. We're gonna do that though. We're still gonna call it that. Let's see. Ears don't really give me anything. Mouth. What do we have here? Charm level 2. What are those? Are those acorns? I'm gonna put them right here. Stare onto my face lump and tell me what you see. Charm level 2, health level 2. We do need a little more health. I'm gonna get some knee guards for my arms. All right, folks. There we go. We'll put in anything else we need to later, but for now, he's perfect. All right, we need to change all of this. We need to change all of this. We need to change his law because we changed transformed into what you see now to become the epitome. That's a better word. Epitome of streaming. With his many arms, he could react more. And with his many legs, he could kick more children. He is the true form of Asmongold. He is the true form that we all aspire to be. But we're gonna save that and save him. He looks so happy now. Now that his batukus isn't in the air all the time. Well, it is, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Ah, yes, look at him. Now, can we beat up everyone we need to beat up? Because we have all the arms. Strike. Number 3. Striking you till you're mush. Okay. Oh, everyone's here as well. Nice. All right, hold on, Mom. Hold up. We need her to be part of the gang. Everything just moves so crazily. All right, about time, folks. Where are those motherfuckers that killed me last time? I'm gonna get you. What is this, sprint? Yo, we got sprinting. Oh, it's the thing we can only do for a little bit. All right, child, stay back. Otherwise, these guys might get us. They're going on a little conquest, that's fine. Spit on him and run away. Let's go. Nope, no, all right. We're in the fight, we're in on the fight. Press all the numbers that work. Press all of them. Oh no, we're all dead. No! I thought after we leveled him up, he would have been better. He wasn't. I'm just slamming the button like a keyboard. We got something new, that's good. That's good, I think we're gonna die now. Wait, I'm actually faster? I'm actually faster than it. No, I'm not. I'm getting my ass eaten on the road. You can take that as a good or a bad time. Ew. But I definitely died on that one. No! You gonna go to the colony? Please don't go to the colony. Alright, what we need to be stronger is simple. We need to find some prey animals. And we need to do what we do best and eat them. We need to find some prey animals. That's all we're gonna do right now. Hunt one Yaya. Wait a second. If we dive back in and kill one more, we can get 40 DNA. I changed my mind. We're doing good anyways. Look, there's a few more people around here. We're doing fine. Hey, stop kicking me, man. Stop kicking at me. Damn it, I didn't make it. Damn it, I couldn't perform. There we go, singing. You're part of the crew now, giggity. Let's go. I'm expecting great things from you. Great things when we don't die on our next adventure. Come on. Munchy, munchy. There's only one of them here, right? Yes. None more. Hunt for Greedville. What if we just eat for Greedville? Nom nom nom. Oh. He was like this when we found him. He was like this when we found him. I don't know what to tell you. No one say anything. We did not kill him. We found the body and we were getting a light snack. Okay. Wait. Why are we getting so close? Spit on him. Spit on that thing. There we go. Roll. There we go. Now he's confused. Now he's confused and we can munch him up. No! My body! Get him. Get him. Get him. Use everything you have. No, I'm gonna die again. Bro, this thing is insane. Yeah, you walk away. I'm coming for you later. When I'm a little more tough and not so dumb. What is that egg doing? Is it clipping in and out of reality? Am I seeing that right? Like right there. Hey, listen, I might not be the greatest at this game. But that doesn't mean I can't keep trying. Get back here with your lifted up ass. There we go. Da, 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 da. Look at the smooth movements you see here. So smooth. Okay, now like I said before, we need to go and hunt. We're gonna keep this ready and we're just gonna go. We're off on a journey. Sorry, child, you can't come. Go away. We're off on a journey. A journey once again up the mountain. We can finally stop dying a gajillion times and go up the mountain. Oh, these guys are sad at us. Well, why are you so sad? 250 health? That's insane. I was gonna go give him a pat on the back in the form of spitting on him, but you know, I'm more civil. I've changed my ways. The nest is right there. I just noticed that. Ooh, an alpha. Yes. Make me friends. 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 Come, friends me. Friends you me. Friends us. Yes. Friends, yes, I. We together. Okay, here we go. They're dancing. They're dancing. What? He's pushing me away. Okay. No, sad. What were you guys trying to do? I'm pretty sure I'm doing exactly what you guys are doing. Yeah, I'm doing exactly what they're doing, guys. I am one of them. They are very close to finishing off, though. They are very close, and I don't think I'm anywhere close by. I'm sorry I failed you. Sorry I failed you. Ooh, another thing. What do we get here? A 3-paw. Sprinting down. Oh my god, yes. Oh, sorry guys. Sorry, my bad. Is it easier to make friends with them now, though? If they're scared of me, is it easier to make friends? Friends? Friend? You want to do a little bit of charming? No, they want to do a bit of dancing. Oh, it does make easier. It does make easier friends. When they're terrified, they want to be friends better. There we go. Now that they're a little scared of me, we can run it back. There we go. I don't think they're enjoying it as much as we did, honestly. Okay, maybe they want us to do something different. It's fine, we're already at the middle. Just touch tips with me and we'll be friends. What? No! You will be friends with me. I'm not allowing anything else. Folks, gather around. Okay, I don't know why it's harder now. Was there residual, like... Was there residual, like, Oh. Oh, that looks new. There's no fall damage, right? There's no fall damage in this game? Oh, there's no fall damage, thank goodness. Whoa! Do you guys like us? We can actually help them out now. Hold up a second. Let's talk to them. They're only 15, okay? They're only 38. Never mind, they're only 38. Here we go. Second try. Okay, we're not that good. Dancing, I'm a little better. I'm best at charming and dancing. If you ask me to sing, it's a bad idea. Oh, they're asking me to sing again. What happened there? Bro, he literally just alright, well, I'm out. I'm out, folks. Thank you for your time. I will be going now. I will be dipping out and dipping balls in hot sauce because that was miserable. Oh, second. Pause. There we go. We only got one of them. Let's go. We only got one of them. Once we kill this guy, we're dipping. Because that guy's getting weirdly close and he's the alpha. We're dipping. Just move a little bit away. Get a little munchy on the corpse. Is that tasty? It's horrible, but it's fine. Okay. We're surviving, we're getting those DNA points, and we're thriving otherwise. I think that's all we can ask for at this point. Baby blue! The baby blue eye! The baby blue is the greatest of the babies. What? Why are you screaming at me? I'm just taking a look at the nice beach. Look at this place. You seeing this? It's a great beach. Oh, some of them are leaving. No, they aren't leaving. They're just going on patrol. Never mind. I could snag one or two of them, but there's a lot of them. Should we try pincer maneuver them? They're in groups of 2. Ooh, I see a better opportunity. I see a much better opportunity. Cameron. Oh, what? Oh no! Wait, I didn't know. I didn't mean it. Shit, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. What have I done wrong? What have I done wrong? What have I done? I haven't done anything. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh man. What the hell? You know what? I'm surprised. I'm actually kind of surprised. I thought we would have at least, like, gotten a little stronger by now, but no. This game is very consistent at kicking me down so much. I'm pretty sure these are Asian parents, like, somehow. Also, the game just crashed, by the way. The game just crashed. I didn't close it. But you know what? It is getting late. I wanted to look at the Wayback Machine about what you were talking about earlier. What did you say it was? Hold on, let me scroll a bit back up. Warner Bros. Stuck it down. It's totally canon. Warner Bros. What was it? Warner Bros. And is that what we're going back on? That's what I'm typing in. Let's see if we can find anything on it. Anything. Oh, that's Bugs Bunny. Hold on. Bugs Bunny. Come on. Show me some good stuff. Here we go. Here we go. Home.Amanda's Mansion. What is this? What is this? Also, you guys can see my tabs. No. What? This is something completely different. Circular. What? Rugs Camera Casino Gaming? I think I went into the wrong side of this. I think I went into the wrong side of this entire thing. I'm going to Google it and post it on Discord if I find it. But for now, folks, thank you all so much for watching Spore. The first time I've played it, the first time, it was an enjoyable experience. We made Asmongold. We made him insane. We had a lot of fun with him. Guys, I would appreciate if you guys would follow, if you want to, of course. I'm not forcing anything. If you enjoyed the stream and would like to see me play more Spore. I'm also playing a few other games at the moment. It's like 5 different games. We're playing Stardew Valley, Pokemon, RimWorld. I think I will tomorrow change my schedule so that we play more Spore, though, because I've highly enjoyed this. And I think we can make, I think Asmongold at the moment, he's struggling. But tomorrow I have a plan. I will make this plan eventually, and it'll make it so that we win. We're going to win tomorrow. We're going to win tomorrow on Spore. So look out for that. Look out for more Spore tomorrow. Without further ado, though, thank you everybody so much for watching. My name has been Ryberus. I will be back here tomorrow. And I'll see all of you then. Bye. Bye, 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 bye.